cost the taxpayer £83,000? Or does streamlining only ever apply to everyone else's footprint but yours?
Find out what Sadiq Khan, sorry, the two are the same, what Sadiq, I can't even say it now, said in response to this a little later on. But before we get started, to put my teeth back in, let's get your latest news with Bethany Elsey.
Nana, thank you. Good afternoon. Your top stories at 3:02. Donald Trump's proposed peace plan for Ukraine and Russia is dominating the G20 summit in South Africa today. Leaders from Japan, Canada, Italy, Norway and the European Union are attending in Johannesburg. Sir Keir Starmer and other European leaders say the draft includes essential elements for just and lasting peace, but that it requires additional work. Donald Trump has given Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky less than a week to decide whether to approve the peace deal or risk losing weapons and intelligence. The controversial 28-point proposal would see Vladimir Putin walk away with full ownership over the Donbass regions of Donetsk and Luhansk, as well as Crimea. Neither Trump or Putin are attending the summit. Back in the UK, Rachel Reeves is facing pressure from all sides heading into the budget week, with growing questions over whether she can steady the economy. But Sir Keir Starmer has assured the budget will stick to Labour values. The Prime Minister sat down with GBNews' political editor Chris Hope in Johannesburg last night.
Well, we will set out the budget in just a few days' time, but the principles are clear. It'll be a Labour budget with Labour values. That means it will be fair, and it will do three things, or three principles. One is protecting our public services, including, of course, the NHS, where we put record investment in and waiting lists are going down. We'll make sure that we're cutting the debt, vitally important for our country, and that we're bearing down on the cost of living, which, for all your viewers, I don't doubt is going to be the #1 issue. So they're the principles that we'll take into the budget.
Elsewhere, a new poll has revealed the Conservatives would win just 14 seats if a general election were called now. That's according to the Telegraph. Some Tory insiders think the party's in danger of being consigned to the history books. The poll predicts Reform would win a 46-seat majority, raising questions over Kemi Badenoch's leadership of the party. Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her resignation from Congress following a highly publicised falling out with Donald Trump. In recent weeks, the Republican Congresswoman has clashed with the US president on immigration, America's involvement in foreign wars, and his reluctance over releasing all the files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. In a video posted on X last night, the former Trump loyalist said her last day in office would be January the 5th next year.
I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well.
The owner of the Daily Mail is in talks to buy the Daily Telegraph and its Sunday sister title for £500 million. The Daily Mail and General Trust said it has entered exclusive negotiations with Redbird IMI to finalise the terms of the transaction. The Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, will review the potential new deal. And Australia have beaten England by 8 wickets in the first Ashes test in Perth. England captain Ben Stokes admitted he was left shell-shocked after Australia crushed his side in just 2 days at Perth. That's the fastest Ashes defeat in over 100 years. Bit of a tongue twister, that one. You're up to date. Now it's back to Nana.
Well, I've got to say, sorry, I'll say what we're talking about. What's going on? Who are you? Who am I? This is GBNews. I'm Nana Akua. Well, Britain's #1 news channel, by the way. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. It's just coming up to 7 minutes after 3 o'clock. And coming up in the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? The Prime Minister's popularity is at record lows back home, but many of his supporters believe he's impressed leaders abroad, really. So, for the Great British Debates, I'm going to be asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? I've also put that in a poll on gbnews.com where you can cast your vote. Also this hour, a shock new poll has revealed that the Tories are on course for just 14 seats at the next election. I'll be speaking with a former Conservative MP to ask him whether Kemi Badenoch can turn things around. Then, in our next Great British Debate of the hour, I'm asking, is Nigel Farage fit to be Prime Minister? Keir Starmer has blasted the Reform UK leader over racism accusations and Russian influence in his party. So for the Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Nigel Farage fit to be Prime Minister? All of that on the way. As ever, send me your thoughts, post your comments, gbnews.com/your say. Well, Sir Keir Starmer has launched an attack on Nigel Farage, accusing him of being spineless for failing to confront allegations of racism within his party.
Anyone who is pro-Russia is not fit to lead our country.
The Prime Minister also told GBNews that he plans to stay in power until 2034. Really? Dismissing rumours of an MP revolt to oust him.
Finally, on your future, you said in the Daily Mirror this week you'll fight the next general election. If you win, will you serve a full second term?
Yes, I've always said this is a decade of national renewal. I know that we're elected on a mandate of change.
Yep.
That change is bearing down on the cost of living. Do people feel better off?
yeah.
It's making sure our public services are turned around, and our NHS in particular, and people feel safe and secure in their community. I'll be judged on that at the next election, quite rightly, by the electorate, and every day that is what I focus on.
Okay.
Interesting. But will the Prime Minister hold on to his job for that long? I'm joined by Labour councillor Stuart Fawcett. Stuart, come on, be honest. He's a catastrophe, isn't he?
I think we've seen plenty of catastrophes in British politics, but Keir Starmer I wouldn't deem one to be.
Really?
You asked earlier if he was doing well on the world stage, and I think Keir Starmer is certainly a politician that I've never been embarrassed about sitting abroad.
What, until the trip up in Africa?
I think it's fair to say we've all tripped up once or twice in our
but
lives.
Look, let's see it again. I just Is it coming? Oh, I thought they were going to play that. That was funny.
But like where I think we are at the moment is these. I recognise there are conversations being had about the long-term leadership of the Labour Party, but I don't think that's in the forefront of people's minds at the minute.
Really?
There's two really important questions I think people want to see some leadership on and a resolution, which is the economy and our cost of living and the immigration crisis, because there are two things that are really bringing doubt in people's minds about British democracy. And this isn't about party leadership. This is about people who are engaged in democracy, having faith in that system to deliver for them. We've just seen this week the asylum and refugee bill that's going through Parliament and the measures that are now being announced. The first time, actually, we've had some news on what's going to happen beyond that really terrible Brexit deal that we ended up with and we've been sort of cursed with ever since. And now we're looking forward to some measures that are going to actually address the serious cost of living issue that people every day watching this show are feeling. So I think at the moment, whether people want a new Prime Minister or not is not the first thing they're asking. I do understand. Look, there are plenty of polls going on every single day. I don't deny that that people will be having conversations there about that one.
Stuart, even in your own party, there is huge division, and your MPs and people within the Labour Party are worried about their jobs because they think, and I think they're right in thinking that if Keir Starmer stays on, then they will be out of office 100%. At least without him, and not as leader, there's maybe a small scintilla of a chance that they might still be in office, and they're now fighting like cats in a sack.
I think the question on jobs is, to every politician out there, their first priority should be people's jobs in the economy in our country and protecting those, which is why I'm looking forward to seeing the measures that the Chancellor's about to release this week.
You're the only one that's looking forward to them.
Well, OK, let's give that a few more days. We've had a lot of reports on it. I think we want to know the definite news that's coming out now. I think at the minute the only thing we don't know if Rachel Reeves brushes her teeth up and down or in circles with all the stories that we've had so far. But when we talk about jobs, people's jobs are on the line with the situation with the economy at the moment. It's very serious. So I respect the fact the Prime Minister has said these are the things in the forefront of our mind. When you talk about MPs' jobs, you're not wrong. Leadership does have an impact on how people vote. We're about probably 3 or 4 years away from another election, there or thereabouts, and people do take that into consideration. I think it's somewhat admirable that the Prime Minister has turned around and said he's had some courage and conviction in his own leadership to say that is where I want to go and where I want to take it. And I think that should be taken into account. He's earned the right to tell that story. But if this continues, naturally people will be asking questions about, will we still get to deliver as a Labour government under that leadership? And can we afford to just sleepwalk into lack of popularity that could put that at risk? But I think the question should be about what they can do for their constituents and the country, not just about who should be leader, who should get to sit in the chair.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I think it was Clive Lewis, isn't it, who said that he'd put party before anything else and he would step aside for Andy Burnham to, potentially go forward.
Of course, Andy Burnham would have to win a selection contest. If Clive Lewis were to say, what is more important to me is a different leader than serving my constituents, and decided to take that step, two things would have to happen. Andy Burnham would have to also say, what is more important to me is my own ego to go and run for a seat.
Or maybe saving the Labour Party.
And leave Manchester.
But that might be saving the Labour Party. That's why Clive Lewis was saying it, because he said country before party.
But
and if he felt that would be in the country's interest...
Could there be some hubris there, though, to say that I am the person to rescue it when,
Well, at least he's prepared to say it. The others won't say it, but he is openly kind of saying that if it required somebody to lead the party, then instead of Sir Keir Starmer, then he was prepared to step aside. And even for that conversation to be airing means that there are serious problems within the Labour Party.
I would reflect upon what the British people might think of that. And the person they want leading their country, is it somebody that has their own priorities at heart and says that I am better than this to do it? Or would people look to somebody who has taken decisions in the interests of the country above their own popularity in order to deliver on their priorities, rather than play up to the hype of who may or may not be the leader of a party?
I don't know. I think it's going very, very badly for Sir Keir Starmer. He's voted the least popular ever, Prime Minister ever, and also, well, his number two, Rachel Reeves, the least popular Chancellor ever. It's not going well. And if there isn't some sort of change, I can't see the Labour Party carrying on.
But I think the question is as well, do people just want a change in personalities? I don't think that's... People aren't sold on that. What they want is they want a change in the deliverables and what affect the decisions those people make and how they affect them every day. We're quite early on in the cycle.
I think they want both. I think they want both.
That's a fair
this is what I'm thinking. And I don't think, just for the Labour Party in their own interest, I don't think it's wise for them to continue with Keir Starmer, although I also don't think it will make that much difference to the outcome. They actually need to start doing something. And, there's so many U-turns, there's so many... there was a great interview on Sky News. I will credit Beth Rigby for saying that you are the chaos. And as far as we've seen, the Labour Party are in chaos.
I don't think the party itself is in chaos. We're facing a very, very difficult situation in the country. There's two huge issues at the moment that have undermined it: immigration and economics, and it's action on those that people want to see.
All right, Stuart Fawcett, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. He's a Labour councillor. He joins us live in the studio. Now, though, is this the beginning of the end for the Conservatives and other parties that are in dire straits? Polling leaked from Party HQ suggests that they would win just 14 seats if the general election were held now. And all of that comes as the research predicts a 46-seat majority for Reform UK. And these findings now are raising serious questions over Kemi Badenoch's leadership, with sources warning the Conservatives risk being consigned to the history books. So, are the Tories toast? Joining me now to discuss this further, former Conservative Party MP Tom Hunt. Do you think that they need to be changing the leader again? There's one party people are looking at, the Labour Party, saying you need to change the leader because of this disastrous run of 17 months. But the Conservative Party, do they really need to be doing that again?
Well, the Conservative Party changed leader quite a few times in the last Parliament, and it didn't make a tremendous amount of difference. I saw that polling in the Daily Telegraph, and I've also seen some of the council by-election results this week, and I've seen various national polls over the last few weeks, and it's quite clear the Conservative Party are in a real predicament electorally, and it's not looking very good for them.
But who else would be better off if it wasn't Kemi Badenoch? And do you think that if they maybe change the leader is an option, even though there was the catastrophe of the sort of like a merry-go-round of leaders?
Well, I mean, it's not really... I don't really give a huge amount of consideration to who's leading the Conservative Party, if I'm brutally honest. I mean, I'm not, you know, because it keeps on changing leader and nothing much ever really seems to change. And I think we can see that, you know, throughout the Western world over the last few years, we've seen big change in politics. We've seen long-established parties being replaced by other parties. And certainly what we seem to be seeing in British politics at the moment is incredibly dramatic. I've just heard your discussion about the Labour Party and about whether or not the Labour Party should change leader. I don't think it would make a huge amount of difference whether the Labour Party changes leader. I think that there are bigger things at work here. And I think certainly one of the issues that I was very active on when I was a Member of Parliament was small boats. I first raised small boats in the House of Commons chamber in spring 2020. That was over 5 years ago. And the fact is that the numbers are greater now than they've ever been before. You see, that kind of dereliction of duty from a number of governments fuels unprecedented anger and the demand for significant radical change. And that is what I think we're now seeing in this country.
Yeah. Are you tempted then from that to jump ship and join Reform UK? I mean, they are they're prepared to talk about it and tackle the problem, even though the Labour Party are talking a good game at the moment. But then so far, all the major parties have talked a good game about it.
Well, I'm not as involved in British politics as I was. I'm obviously monitoring things, and I suspect that I will be involved in British politics at some point again in the future. But in terms of, interestingly, what you said about the Labour Party trying to tackle the issue of small boats, I think it's got itself in a real bind. So the Home Secretary, I saw her speech, very good speech, and it's got some people quite excited. I think she's going to let people down. She's going to let people down because the Labour Parliamentary Party will not let her do the things that she was saying. She also cannot do the things that she was saying because the UK remains in the ECHR, something that she and Keir Starmer do not want us to get out of. But at the same time, she's going to disappoint that group of voters who aren't going to see action on the small boats. But she's also, through her rhetoric, alienated left-wing voters. So strangely, you know, if I was advising the Labour Party, I might even say to them, because they're never going to stop the boats, I might even say to them, to be honest, guys, you should just swing to the left and keep that lot happy, because you're never going to keep the people who want the small boats stopped happy, because you're never going to stop the small boats because you're not prepared to do what it takes. You know, do I think that if, you know, Nigel Farage was Prime Minister, do I think that one way or another the boats would stop? Yes, I do. I do think that, because we can have debates here about specific plans and policies to stop the boats, but the key thing here is who has a political will to stop the boats. And we've had lots of different prime ministers and home secretaries say that they're going to stop the boats. They say that they will do whatever it takes. But when push comes to shove, they blinked. They were not actually, truthfully prepared to do whatever it takes. So frankly, the only game in town, and the thing that the British public should be thinking about, if they care about stopping the small boats crisis and actually cutting legal migration as well, is which political option in front of me, who has a political will, who has the credibility to actually not just speak words, but deliver action on this. And I say now, as a former MP, just a British citizen, who over 5 years ago first raised the small boats crisis in the House of Commons chamber, it is unbelievable that we're still in this situation, and it is destroying the country. The level of illegal migration, the small boat crossings, you know, continuing at the pace that they are, there's going to be consequences for this country for years and years and years, and that's even if we stopped it now. So it's a very depressing situation, and for the good of the country, I wish it would stop, but I have absolutely no hope the Labour Party will achieve it.
All right, thank you very much, Tom Hunt. He's a former Conservative Party MP. Really good to talk to you. So it's 22 minutes after 3 o'clock. It's fast approaching. I'm Nana Akua. Still to come in my niggle. I'll lay out my thoughts on the Labour government and the Prime Minister, who is currently making his 42nd road trip. Does he not have other things to be sorting out back home? But next, it's time for the Great British Debate this hour. I'm asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? This is GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get this on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. I'm going to do now, they are throwing things up the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
That's right. I mean, the rifts can last a lifetime. And that's because the event is so emotional. We see it at funerals and we see it at weddings in particular. That idea that what you've got is a fight for territory, really, a fight for possession. And particularly when one particular child is moving into another family, that can stir up a lot of angst for the parent, for that generation. And things get said and things get seen, slights get perceived, and before you know it, you've got a full-blown crisis. But there have been stories around who gets to go for a hen party, for example. And I think it's very unusual to have an intergenerational hen party. Who wants to have their mother, hen parties?
My mum wasn't at my hen party. She wouldn't want to be.
The thing is, they get quite
drunk.
They get quite lewd. And would you want your future mother-in-law to watch you play some variant of pinning the appendage on whatever? So I think there are reasons why you don't invite everybody, but then who gets the territory? I think if you can be much more magnanimous and accept that it isn't about losing a child but gaining a family, then you can have a very different mindset.
It's interesting, though, because just by raising all of that, there's a lot of focus on saying, well, Adam Peaty has uninvited his mother. But this, whatever the tension, it must be from both sides, presumably.
Yeah. That's right. And nobody will really know what it's about because they themselves will probably not know what it's about. And it may actually be about things historically that are now being brought up into the surface. But we see it at Christmas as well. In the run-up to Christmas, there will be tensions about who gets to go where on the day.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads. And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis, breaking down what it means for you. Budget day, all day Wednesday.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
25 minutes after 3 o'clock. This is GB News, Britain's #1 news channel. I'm Nana Akua, and it's time for the first Great British Debate of the show. And I'm asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? The Prime Minister is in Johannesburg for the G20 summit, meeting with world leaders to rally support for Ukraine. But the US President Donald Trump is skipping the event after proposing a plan to end the war that is seen as favouring Moscow. So, for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? Joining me now, political commentators Aman Bogle and also political commentator Jonathan Lewis. Smile, Jonathan. It might never happen. He's not happy with me. I've taken away his notes. He doesn't like it. You're not having them. Simples. Right, so I'm going to start with you. Aman Bogle with a smiley face. What do you think?
Look, I think Starmer, as you've seen, he's tripping up Britain on the world stage. You know, he likes to parade around as this great global, statesman. When the truth is, look, he's both dull and he's dangerous. You know, I would argue that he's damaging Britain's national interest. Let's break this down a bit. The US has been stopping sharing crucial intelligence sharing with the UK because of his stance on the whole Israel-Palestine stuff. Israel itself is stopping doing that. But more worryingly, it's his kowtowing to the Chinese communists. Within the first 6 months of his government, he sent his chancellor, his foreign secretary, and other ministers, including Red Ed, to Beijing to ask for handouts. He's giving them the big Chinese embassy, which is a huge security concern here in London. So he spent, look, 1/6 of his premiership literally trapezing around the world, pretending to be someone who he's not. He's relying on the goodwill that Great Britain, that global Britain has on the world stage to pretend that he's this great prime minister. He's got far too many things to be looking for, looking to fix at home. What has he achieved? Let's be honest. Which big deals can he point to? And he could say, well, you know what? These are this many jobs that I'm bringing into the country. Leaving aside the UK India FTA, which was the brainchild of Boris Johnson, and the UK India Roadmap 2030, there's nothing else.
Jonathan Liss.
I think it's a ludicrous line of attack. He's the Prime Minister. He's not pretending to be anything. He is the Prime Minister. And Prime Ministers have to travel. That is an essential component.
I said pretending to be a statesman.
That is an essential component of the job. He said he's pretending to be a great Prime Minister. He's pretending to be he's not pretending to be a Prime Minister. He is the Prime Minister.
Is he a great Prime Minister, though?
Well, no. I don't think he's a great Prime Minister by any stretch of the imagination, but he is doing his job. And going abroad is absolutely a fundamental component of being a Prime Minister. And if he didn't go to important summits, he would get it in the neck from people on this channel for neglecting his duties as well. So he's
been on 42 trips in the last sort of 17 months, which is more than any Prime Minister ever in this country.
I think that you can argue in the broad about whether he has been on too many visits. That's entirely legitimate. But when you go line by line through the individual visits, there are always legitimate reasons why he would be going to that. And at the moment, he's at the G20. If you're to miss the G20, that he would be condemned for being weak for doing that. That's obviously one of the most important meetings of developed and developing countries in the world. Because that's not what happens. No countries don't do that. They send. That would be seen as a huge snub. You send your chief personnel, and on the substance of it, Nana, he is doing. I don't agree with every decision. I don't think that don't necessarily agree with the Chinese super embassy decision. I will leave that to the security services to make evaluations about whether that is the correct course of action. I've heard arguments for and against. He has been very, very strong on things like Ukraine, and he was instrumental in bringing together this sort of coalition of leaders after that disastrous Zelensky summit earlier this year. And I think that he can still bring influence to bear upon, at least I hope he can, upon Donald Trump. But has he got everything right on the foreign stage? No, of course not.
No,
but he's still. But I think he's doing better.
Nobody said has he got everything right, but we're saying, is he really this great global statesman that people are saying, oh, he's doing so well on the world stage? And frankly, I don't happen to think he does. I mean, did you see him trip over? That's just embarrassing.
He's a human being.
Yeah, but he got up on the stage and went, that time with Donald Trump, it's just embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, and I'll just point to two things. Before I came into the show today, Nana, I asked just a very general group of very diverse friends in terms of who their background is, what their background is, and asked them, oh, do you know that the Prime Minister is at the G20 today in South Africa? Not a single one of them could say yes. But more important than that, let's look at our partners and friends in Europe. I looked at Prime Minister Maloney's Twitter feed, and she tweeted this fantastic montage of photos from the G20 and who was in it. The President of South Africa, Prime Minister Modi, and herself, and a group photo. It wasn't Prime Minister Starmer. Right? You would think that all these bridges that he's been trying to build in the EU, that there would be some reverse love from European prime ministers.
I mean, how ludicrous. So now we're sort of inferring because of a photograph, about his...
Yes, it does matter because it does matter because it's all, in diplomacy, it's all about the optics. The optics matter more than what...
Well, he's not going to be in every single photograph that every leader posts of a summit, is he?
Look, Starmer is a loser on the world stage, right? If you cannot point to any substance of any of his foreign visits. Can you tell me a single thing that he's done on a foreign visit that you can remember? I can't.
Well, he's signed free trade agreements. He hasn't. He hasn't
signed any
investment. Look, this is absurd. What do you expect people to do when their prime ministers to go? Do you expect them to come back with big lists of everything they've achieved?
Yes, of course you do.
It's part of the pattern of diplomacy that happens.
I'll tell you what you want. You want the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to be respected on the world stage on the same level as the President of the United States of America. If that isn't happening, something is seriously going wrong.
Do you think the UK is as important as the USA?
Why shouldn't it be?
I'm sorry, this is mad. The UK is clearly not as powerful, as important as the United States. Clearly the President of the United States is going to have a different cachet.
Wait. Powerful and important are two different things. So as important or as powerful, America is definitely more powerful, but as important it should be, surely.
Well, I mean, is any head of government or head of state has a prestige, a power, a degree of importance, obviously, but they're not going to be equal because tiny Pacific island nations are not going to be treated on the world stage the same as the United States. That's how it is.
Let's break this down a bit. We have the largest group of friendly foreign nations as the Commonwealth. It's unparalleled, it's peerless. We should be leading the global south. We should be a leading force in the Indo-Pacific. Where are we? The Indo-Pacific Quad does not have the UK. The Mid-East Quad does not have the UK. And these are global foreign policy failures under this Labour government.
I mean, the UK is a G7 country. It is not the leader of the world. You go back 100 years, most people would prefer not to have a British Empire anymore where Britain is leading the world. We can be influential in the world and be a good influence, but that is not the same as leading it.
Oh, well, we are leading the Commonwealth, which I think is quite a big influence. And, you know,
we don't lead the Commonwealth.
Well, we are.
We don't lead the Commonwealth.
Yeah, well, come on.
We don't. We formally don't lead the Commonwealth.
Well, we do in a way.
No, we
yes,
don't.
we do, because we head off. Listen, don't argue with me. I've had enough. Right, there you go, you're with me. I'm Nana Akua, still to come in my niggle. I'll lay out my thoughts on the Labour government and the Prime Minister, who is currently making his 42nd road trip. He's got loads of stuff to do at home, but really. And then next, in the next Great British Debate of this hour, I'm asking, is Nigel Farage fit to be Prime Minister? First, your latest news headlines with Bethany Elsie.
Good afternoon. The headlines from the GB Newsroom. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has met with the leaders of France and Germany at the Johannesburg G20 summit to discuss the US-drafted peace plan to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Donald Trump says Volodymyr Zelensky will have to approve the proposed peace plan to end the war or risk losing weapons and intelligence. Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her resignation from Congress after falling out with Donald Trump over his reluctance to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein. The owner of the Daily Mail has agreed a £500 million deal to buy the Daily Telegraph. And Australia have beaten England by 8 wickets in the first Ashes test in Perth. You're up to date. More for you at half an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head our way into Sunday, we can expect further rain overnight tonight, then a day of sunshine and showers, though we are expecting some quite heavy downpours at times. This afternoon, we've also seen a fair amount of rain, particularly across central areas, parts of the south and southeast. This will eventually clear its way through over the course of this evening, but still some heavy outbreaks of rain expected at times. A little drier to the west, though once again plenty of showers starting to feed in, and these will turn heavier as we progress through the early hours of Sunday. The driest and clearest of conditions are likely across the far north and northeast of Scotland, so likely dipping below freezing here, a widespread frost and some possible icy stretches, but nevertheless for all it is going to be quite a chilly start to Sunday. And this leads us into quite an unsettled day. Plenty of clear skies across northern areas of Scotland and remaining mostly dry here. But as we head our way towards the southwest of Scotland, some quite heavy downpours. This is similar across Northern Ireland, many areas of northern England too, and some quite blustery conditions under cloudier skies here. Perhaps a little clear across Wales and the southwest, but still some showers and also some heavy persistent downpours just moving into many areas of eastern England too. And quite a blustery day on offer, particularly across parts of the southwest. Any areas surrounding the Bristol Channel could see some quite strong winds through the day, but there will be some brighter spells, if not some sunshine later into the day, but there will be some showers mixed in there too. These two still could be rather heavy at times and still on the chillier side, though not quite as cold across many areas of England and Wales. Highs reaching 9 to 10 here, but around the mid-single figures elsewhere towards the north. And still as we progress into the evening, plenty of cloud, some showery outbreaks. But as we head into next week, there will be more sunshine, but turning chilly again with some overnight frosts and feeling quite cold during the day too. But nevertheless, there will be some more brighter spells.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads. And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis breaking down what it means for you. Budget Day, all day Wednesday.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News, Britain's #1 news channel. If you just tuned in, welcome on board. Now, coming up, Sir Keir Starmer is in South Africa, meeting world leaders at the G20 summit. Now, this comes as Ukraine's allies raised concerns over a US-Russian plan to end the war. Now, we'll be crossing live now to GB News political editor Christopher Hope, who's actually in Johannesburg for us now. So, Christopher, what's going on? What are they all talking about?
Hi, Nana. Well, welcome to a wet and stormy Johannesburg for the G20 meeting. All world leaders here talking about other issues, including the environment, sustainability and so forth. But on the margins of the G20 here, the focus for the UK delegation led by Sir Keir Starmer has always been about this 28-point peace plan, so described by the US, a surrender plan if you're Ukraine. Well, there's been a leak this week and has confirmed, and of course Donald Trump, the US president, has given Ukraine until Thanksgiving on Thursday to accept this deal or lose access to intelligence sharing and also defence. Now, that's caused alarm in Ukraine, in Kyiv. It's also caused alarm amongst European allies of Ukraine who want any deal to be done on Ukraine's terms, not Russia's terms. And that's why there's been meetings today here in Johannesburg. There's been an E3 meeting, that's the leaders of Germany, France and the UK. Then a wider meeting, others included Norway, Ireland, Canada, Italy, Germany, Finland, Spain and so forth, all concerned about a deal must not be forced that's against Ukraine's interest. They're concerned because Russia would get access back into the G7, become the G8 again, and also they'd lose lots of hard-won territory which Ukraine wouldn't want to surrender to Russia, and also leave Ukraine vulnerable to future Russia attack. There's been a statement released by the European allies of Ukraine saying this. The initial 28 plan includes important elements that will be essential for a just and lasting peace, but the draft is a basis for additional work, not a final document. Note that the borders must not be changed by force, they say, and they're concerned by the proposed limitations on Ukraine armed forces, which would leave Ukraine vulnerable to a future attack. And they also say, very interestingly, that the European Union and NATO would need to consent to this deal, and that, I think, is an attempt by the UK to try and put a limit on forcing Ukraine to accept this deal. So it moves all to tomorrow, when we're expecting high-level meetings between the US and others, and Ukraine and the European Union leaders in Geneva tomorrow. It carries on till Thursday, Thanksgiving deadline.
All right, thank you very much, Christopher Hope. He's there in Johannesburg. Right, let's do this. The great British debate, I'm asking, is Nigel Farage fit to be Prime Minister? Sir Keir Starmer has launched an attack on Nigel Farage, accusing him of not being fit to lead this country. The Prime Minister told GBNews that anyone who is pro-Russia should not be in government. So for the great British debate this hour, I'm asking, is Nigel Farage fit to be the next Prime Minister? Well, joining me now is political commentator Aman Bogle and also political commentator Jonathan Liss. Jonathan, we'll start with you.
Look, Nana, I have had a drink with Nigel Farage. He is an extremely charismatic politician. He is an excellent communicator. He is very, very good at persuading people. I happen to think that he is an extraordinarily dangerous individual, and I reject his politics with every fibre of my being.
Did you tell him that?
Well, I mean, it was many years ago, and I was well, he knew exactly what I thought. It was about 12 years ago. It was when I was working at the European Parliament. It was in Strasbourg, and we had a very amiable conversation, not a political discussion. My point is that I get it. I get why he's popular. He knows that I disagree with everything. It was obvious at the time. The point is that Farage has a very, very long history of inflammatory and offensive comments. He's never run anything apart from the three political parties that have sort of been folded up and then sort of repackaged into new parties. Anyone who tries to challenge him gets sort of purged.
Something. So you're running something. So saying he's not running anything and then pointing out three.
He's never run a government.
No, I listen to you. So no, but to say that he hasn't run anything is not true. Sir Keir Starmer has never run a government either before until now. So to say that
he's the opposition.
Yeah, but he hasn't actually run the government.
He ran the DPP. He ran the CPS.
Run the government.
Yeah, fine, but he's run institutions.
I don't think that's an argument.
Okay, look. Well, then let's talk about the history that Farage has. We can talk about the 20 people who've just come forward from his school who've accused him of making racist comments while he was at school. The school teachers included. We can talk about the fact that he's praised Enoch Powell.
How old was he?
We can talk about the fact. Well, I'm giving you a whole list of things he's done in adulthood.
Oh,
okay, fine.
It's a conversation, not a monologue.
All right.
Okay. So, how old were these children?
Well, this is obviously when he was a teenager.
All right.
I think look, it adds up.
Have you not said things that are really bad when you were younger? I don't even know whether any of this is true, by the way. Anyone can say anything.
Well, then let's talk about the things that we have on record. No, let's talk about the things we have on record.
All right, go on.
Let's talk about his praise for Enoch Powell. Let's talk about the Board of Deputies of British Jews condemning him for using anti-Semitic tropes. Let's talk about his call on the ban of HIV-positive, HIV+ people from coming to the UK to migrate. Let's talk about his misogynistic comments about how women who have had kids are worth far less their employer.
Let's get a man on.
Fine.
Look, Nigel Farage is just what the doctor ordered for the UK. He's the Prime Minister that Britain needs at this minute for one very simple reason: to rescue Britain from the depredations of 3 decades of the Blairite orthodoxy that has infected our academia, our government and our public institutions. He has been the most effective politician in a generation, since Margaret Thatcher. He is the single reason that we got a referendum in the first place. I remember knocking on doors as a Conservative candidate in the 2015 election, telling people on the doorstep, look, the Labour Party will not give you a referendum. The Lib Dems don't want you to have a referendum. UKIP can't give you a referendum, and the Conservative Party is the one wanting and willing to get you a referendum. And the reason that happened is because of UKIP, because Nigel Farage held the feet of the Conservative Party to the fire on getting a referendum done in the UK. He led that referendum campaign in many ways, not just for that campaign of that 1 year, but for 2 decades. First as an MEP, previously campaigning for it otherwise. Now, he delivered the biggest democratic mandate in British history for a reason. It's because of what the British people really actually want. That is to have their own sovereignty, their own independence, and not to be dictated to by Brussels.
Why are we talking about Brexit?
All right,
because it's the biggest political achievement.
This is a long, very long time ago.
No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some weather, then we'll come back to this, because a lot of people are looking for some European holiday destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's an unsettled day on Sunday in the UK, but it's also unsettled across parts of Greece with blustery showers. Meanwhile, for the Canaries, not too bad. Madeira seeing sunny spells and plenty of settled weather for Spain and parts of Portugal, although northern parts of Portugal into the south of France there will be some rain, and it's showery across Italy, but more so for parts of Greece and Croatia, where there'll be some heavy downpours and strong winds. Very unsettled Central Med next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's continue our discussion with Nigel Farage and whether he'd make a good Prime Minister. There's been a message for you, actually, here from Madeline. She said, that guy on the shirt at the moment, meaning you, is suffering from Nigel Farage derangement syndrome. If it's not Trump haters, it's Farage haters.
Well, I think there's a difference between having derangement syndrome and just pointing out to things he's actually said. Well, look, I mean, this is interesting. If me going through a list of things that Nigel Farage has said on the record and things that other people have said on the record that he has said,
but it's not entirely true,
and that constitutes some kind of derangement syndrome, then I contend that makes Nigel Farage perhaps a rather unattractive figure. Because if you can condemn someone by simply repeating verbatim things that they've said, said, that suggests that they are not fit to be Prime Minister of this country. It's not just the things he said, Nana, it's the policies that he's espoused. Now, I agree with you that he's been an incredibly influential politician. Brexit would not have happened without him, 100%. I happen to think that's a disaster, by the way. We can put that to one side. Being an activist is not the same as being a Prime Minister. Ask people about Jeremy Corbyn.
All right, I'm on.
Look, it's quite simple. We have had now a Prime Minister who is masquerading as Prime Minister. Let's be honest, he's endorsed by Hamas, right? He's a renter lawyer.
It's a ludicrous thing to say. Outrageous thing to say.
Did Hamas not endorse him? After he...
Hamas, the prescribed terrorist organisation.
Yes, and they endorsed Keir Starmer after he made policy that recognising Palestine as a state, right? That's when they endorsed him. So,
along with the vast majority of countries in the world.
But they did, though.
So everyone's Hamas, are they?
No, he's making a point.
Hamas endorsed him as Prime Minister. This is a renter lawyer. This is a human rights lawyer masquerading as Prime Minister. These are the same people.
Masquerading. He's the Prime Minister.
No, he's masquerading.
He's the Prime Minister.
If he was the Prime Minister, he would be securing our borders. Okay.
You can argue he's not a good Prime Minister, but you can't dispute that he is the Prime Minister.
Well, it's quite arguable that if
he is the Prime Minister. That's literally what he is.
No. Let's break this down. If he was behaving as a Prime Minister, he'd be securing our borders. He'd be getting a grip of the financial crisis that this country is in. And you know what, Nana? He'd not be flip-flopping between policies. A month ago, the Home Secretary went on stage at the Labour Party conference and called Britons who want secure borders Little Englanders. A month later, she's espousing the same policies, pretending. What did we have from the Home Office yesterday? Foreign citizens could lose their access to benefits, right? This is a government that is not working in Britain's national interest.
In your opinion?
No, not in my opinion.
Are you saying that only your opinion is the national interest?
No, quite fact.
You can come back on it.
Full facts.
10 seconds, though.
Full facts. We've had record-breaking number of people breaking into the country. That's not in Britain's national interest. We have an economic doom loop. More borrowing, it's not in Britain's national interest.
Well, I mean,
you can't argue against that.
Well, I can argue about politics, actually. It's a political debate.
No,
Some people have... No, I'm sorry.
These are facts.
No, I'm sorry, that's not true.
These are
you can have your side of the argument. That doesn't mean it's the only argument that exists. I'm sorry, but someone who disagrees with you, doesn't mean they're not in the national interest. I disagree with you politically. I believe in the national interest. I just have a different conception of it from you.
These are facts.
It enrages me when people on the right assert the monopoly over the national interest. I'm sorry, mate. Other people disagree with you. They also have the country's best interest at heart. They just have a different conception of it.
Can I just ask you this? Is this mass migration, the way it's going on, is that in the national interest in your view?
I think that migration is...
Is that in your view? Yes or no? Because I'm running out of time. So
it's a complicated question. I think migration is a very, very good thing. It's the bedrock of Britain.
Specifically,
both of us are descended from migrants. I think it's a good thing.
This mass migration that we're seeing currently, is it in the national interest?
Yes, in the main, I think it is, yeah.
OK, fine. I don't think so. I wouldn't agree with that at all. I don't think it is. It's costing us a fortune for no real proper benefit at all. All right, well, stay tuned. What do you think? gbnews.com/you got my say. Next, my niggle on the Labour government and Sir Keir Starmer. Do you think he's doing a great job or is he an embarrassment? But first, let's get an update with your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head our way into Sunday, we can expect further rain overnight tonight, then a day of sunshine and showers, though we are expecting some quite heavy downpours at times. This afternoon, we've also seen a fair amount of rain, particularly across central areas, parts of the south and southeast. The whistle will eventually clear its way through over the course of this evening, but still some heavy outbreaks of rain expected at times. A little drier to the west, though once again plenty of showers starting to feed in, and these will turn heavier as we progress through the early hours of Sunday. The driest and clearest of conditions are likely across the far north and northeast of Scotland, so likely dipping below freezing here, a widespread frost and some possible icy stretches, but nevertheless for all it is going to be quite a chilly start to Sunday. And this leads us into quite an unsettled day. Plenty of clear skies across northern areas of Scotland and remaining mostly dry here. But as we head our way towards the southwest of Scotland, some quite heavy downpours. This is similar across Northern Ireland, many areas of northern England too, and some quite blustery conditions under cloudier skies here. Perhaps a little clear across Wales and the southwest, but still some showers and also some heavy persistent downpours just moving into many areas of eastern England too. And quite a blustery day on offer, particularly across parts of the southwest. Any areas surrounding the Bristol Channel could see some quite strong winds through the day, but there will be some brighter spells, if not some sunshine later into the day, but there will be some showers mixed in there too. These two still could be rather heavy at times and still on the chillier side, though not quite as cold across many areas of England and Wales. Highs reaching 9 to 10 here, but around the mid-single figures elsewhere towards the north. And still, as we progress into the evening, plenty of cloud, some showery outbreaks. But as we head into next week, there will be more sunshine, but turning chilly again with some overnight frosts and feeling quite cold during the day too. But nevertheless, there will be some more brighter spells.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you can enjoy Christmas on us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good afternoon. It is fast approaching 4 o'clock. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. And for the next few hours, me and my panel will be taking on some of the big topics hitting the headlines right now. This show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and of course it is yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. So joining me for the next few hours, political commentator Aman Bogle. and also political commentator Jonathan Liss. Coming up in my niggle.
Questions about mental health, masculinity, social media. I remember when we watched Adolescence together, and as a dad, it was tough to see at times.
Yeah, you'd think it couldn't get any worse.
Hello. How are you? Very good to see you.
I'll lay out my thoughts on the Labour government and the Prime Minister, who's currently making his 42nd trip abroad. Doesn't he have other things to do back home? That is in my niggle in just a moment. And now throughout the show, I'm asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? The Prime Minister's popularity is at record lows back home, but many of his supporters believe he has impressed leaders abroad. So I've been asking, is he great on the world stage? My poll is live on gbnews.com. Please cast your vote. Then coming up in Difficult Conversations, I'll be joined by autism awareness campaigners Anna Kennedy and former Allo Allo star Vicky Michelle. I'll say this only once to discuss the Autism Hero Award, which recognises and celebrates the excellence within the autism community. They'll both be in the studio. And the capital's mayor has been on a trip of his own.
The cost of your Africa trip, which costs the taxpayer £83,000, or does streamlining only ever apply to everyone else's footprint but yours?
Find out what Mayor Khan said in response to this a little later in the show. But before we get started, let's get your latest news with Bethany Elsey.
Nana, thank you. Good evening. Your top stories at 4:02. The fast-moving developments on Donald Trump's proposed peace plan for Ukraine and Russia are dominating the G20 summit in South Africa. Leaders from Japan, Canada, Italy, Norway and the European Union are attending in Johannesburg. Sir Keir Starmer and other European leaders say the draft includes essential elements for just and lasting peace, but that it requires additional work. Donald Trump has given Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky less than a week to decide whether to approve the peace deal or risk losing weapons and intelligence. The controversial 28-point proposal would see Vladimir Putin walk away with full ownership over the Donbass regions of Donetsk and Luhansk, as well as Crimea. In the last few moments, the Prime Minister says he will talk with President Zelensky within the next hour and insists that Ukraine should have the final say.
I'm absolutely clear in my mind that President Trump wants a just and lasting peace, not just from the actions he's taken towards that end, but also from the private discussions that I've had with him one-to-one on this issue. So I know what he's trying to achieve. We all want to achieve that, and that is what our focus is. I think it is important to say that one of the elements in the 28-point plan is the security guarantee from the US, an Article 5 guarantee. That's about the strongest guarantee that can be put forward. And so that fortifies in me the belief that what we're all trying to achieve here is a just and lasting peace, but it'll only be just and lasting if there are security guarantees and if we bear in mind that matters for Ukraine are always to be determined by Ukraine.
Back in the UK, Rachel Reeves is facing pressure from all sides heading into budget week, with growing questions over whether she can steady the economy. But Sir Keir Starmer has assured the budget will stick to Labour values. The Prime Minister sat down with GB News' political editor Chris Hope in Johannesburg last night.
Well, we will set out the budget in just a few days' time, but the principles are clear. It'll be a Labour budget with Labour values. That means it will be fair and it will do three things, or three principles. One is protecting our public services, including, of course, the NHS, where we put record investment in and waiting lists are going down. We'll make sure that we're cutting the debt, vitally important for our country, and that we're bearing down on the cost of living, which, for all your viewers, I don't doubt is going to be the #1 issue. So they're the principles that we'll take into the budget.
Elsewhere, a new poll has revealed the Conservatives would win just 14 seats if a general election were called now. According to the Telegraph, some Tory insiders think the party is in danger of being consigned to the history books. The poll predicts Reform would win a 46-seat majority, raising questions over Kemi Badenoch's leadership of the party. The owner of the Daily Mail is in talks to buy the Daily Telegraph and its Sunday sister title for £500 million. The Daily Mail and General Trust says it has entered exclusive negotiations with Redbird IMI to finalise the terms of the transaction. The Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy will review the potential new deal. And Australia have beaten England by 8 wickets in the first Ashes test in Perth. England captain Ben Stokes admitted he was left shell-shocked after Australia crushed his side in 2 days at Perth. That's the fastest Ashes defeat in over 100 years. You're up to date. More for you at past.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Good afternoon and welcome to GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. When I saw this, I thought it must be a joke or AI.
No, it's not easy growing up in this day and age. I know there are pressures on young men that are difficult to talk about and questions that frankly are difficult to answer. Questions about mental health, masculinity, social media. I remember when we watched Adolescence together, and as a dad, it was tough to see at times.
Yeah, talk about using your son, in my view, in an attempt to be more relatable and garner sympathy. He's done that once before with the Lord Alley Flatgate with exams and dates that didn't add up. But it gets worse.
Hello. How are you? Very nice to see you. Very good to see you.
Does he remind you of anyone? He's turning into the UK version of Joe Biden.
United Kingdom. Where's the United Kingdom? Where's my friend? Where? Come here. Is everything going good? Very good. That's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice. And I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others. And
yes, somebody else got a bit confused on the stage too. It was all a bit embarrassing, really.
we all know the great Prime Minister of the UK, and we just signed a document. This is... Sorry about that.
A very important document.
A little windy out here. Give me that.
Keir Starmer is about as popular as a bucket of sick. Since he was elected 17 months ago, he's been on 42 trips abroad, possibly because back at home he is the least popular Prime Minister this country has never seen. He's always away, along with his Chancellor Rachel Reeves, drowning in her own tears. She's completely out of her depth. Rachel was voted the least popular Chancellor ever, and in a recent YouGov poll, 0% felt that Labour were doing a good job on the economy. Yes, that is 0, so that is no one. The others aren't much better.
That trans women don't have ovaries, but a cervix, I understand, is something that you can have.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
And amidst all the scandals now, Defence Secretary John Healey is in a spot of bother for a council tax cock-up. Need I go on? I'd be here all day. It's only been 17 months. And to top things off, Labour's London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, is in charge of our great capital, is also escaping his problems back at home. He recently flew out to Africa, business class, with a team of 11, costing the taxpayers 83 grand.
But possibly one of the budget savings you could have made was the cost of your Africa trip, which cost the taxpayer £83,000. You took an entourage of 11 staff to South Africa alone. Can you explain? By the way, this was on business class, so good for you. I hope they took care of you on the flight. Can you explain why such a large team was essential, or does streamlining only ever apply to everyone else's footprint but yours?
It's the role of the Mayor of London to champion the capital as an exceptional place to live, work, study and invest in. The purpose of the visit was to promote London.
Yeah, In the meantime, London is in the grips of a crime epidemic.
I'm like against the wall, and I was literally like right about to arrive for my audition, so I've like had to come in, and I'm trying to like gather myself, but I'm so shaken because obviously I had that phone attack happen to me, and it's like so nerve-wracking for me being out in central London now.
That was Bridgerton star Genevieve Chanel. And the other week, it was Kirsty Gallagher. I don't know about you, but I can't take this government seriously. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. And when GB News is often missed out when it comes to press questions, it's difficult to have any sympathy for them. Welcome to Clown World. Only the joke is on us. Another embarrassing trip, literally.
Hello. How are you? It's great to see you. Very good to see you.
Oh dear, before we get stuck into the debates, here's what else is coming up today. For the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, do you believe Britain is becoming more racist? The Home Secretary has said race relations in the UK have deteriorated as she shared her own experience of racism whilst unveiling her migration plans for the Great British Debate. So I'm asking, do you believe Britain is becoming more racist? Then, for the second Great British Debate of this hour, I'm asking, are the Tories finished? A shock new poll has revealed that the party is on course for just 14 seats in an election if they were held today. Kemi Badenoch is struggling to convince voters to back her party. So, for the Great British Debate, I'm asking, are the Tories finished? All of that is on the way. Send me your thoughts, post your comments, gbnews.com/your say. Well, I'm joined now by political commentator Matthew Stadlen. Matthew, come on, that was hilarious, wasn't it? I mean, the AI thing was a bit much, but then... Am I being unfair?
I did have my head in my hands, Nana, when Keir Starmer made public that letter to his son. I mean, the one thing you presumably don't want as a 17-year-old is a public letter, video letter to your dad, when he's such an unpopular Prime Minister. But look, I think it would be a big mistake for Labour to move against Keir Starmer right now. And it was always predictable that Labour were going to have a really big challenge in the first couple of years in power to show the country that they could make things better. And it does take time to turn a country around. I think most people watching feel that there are many elements of our country that do need turning around. One of the problems that Keir Starmer has, and yes, he hasn't helped himself at times, but one of the problems he has is the toxicity of social media. Tory prime ministers, Tory ministers will be able to tell you the same from their time in power as well. But if you move against the Prime Minister now, and you start the merry-go-round that we saw during those Conservative years when they had 5 prime ministers in just 8 years, a bucket load of Home Secretaries and Chancellors of the Exchequer, then I don't think you can show yourself to be a serious party of government. Now, do I want Starmer to lead the Labour Party into the next election against Nigel Farage? At this stage, probably not. But I think he needs to do his bit now to try and dig his party and this country out of the trench that we find ourselves in. And if he fails to do that in the next couple of years, then yes, at that point, I think Labour will probably have to bring in a new leader to take on Nigel Farage.
Yeah, but the problem is, during that time, if they continue with him, and he has been voted the least popular Prime Minister ever since the records began, alongside his Chancellor Rachel Reeves, the party have literally stumbled from one catastrophe to the next. Even Beth Rigby was saying, you are the chaos. Something needs to give. Otherwise, I don't even think they're going to make it through till the next general election, because I don't think people will wash it, really.
Well, that last statement is meaningless, Nana, because there's no mechanism for them not to make it through to the next general election. They have a massive majority, and unless Keir Starmer calls an early election and it's voted on in Parliament, there will not be an early general election.
Well, there has clearly been... Well, there are. I mean, if there's an economic disaster or something like that, people can call for a general election.
You can call for a general. Nana, you can call for a general election. We could all call for a general election. Doesn't mean there's the constitutional mechanism by which that would eventuate. Listen, there has been chaos in Number 10. There's no doubt about it. We saw it a year ago with the departure after just a few months of Sue Gray. We saw it then. We had a reset at the start of this parliamentary period in September, October, and then we've had the chaos in recent weeks. No doubt about it, and Starmer has to grip that. One of the problems that they have is their incapacity to tell a coherent story, and of course critics of Starmer will point to this notion that he doesn't really know what he stands for, other than, and I don't doubt it, that he wants generally to make this country better, but his critics will say that he doesn't really stand for anything. He's U-turned far too many times. First of all, he said one thing to become Labour leader, then he said another to become Prime Minister, then he said that he wasn't going to raise taxes ahead of the last election, and he did raise taxes, and then Rachel Reeves came back and said she's not coming back for more, and it looks almost certain as though she will come back to come back for more. So there is a sense that there is a black hole at the heart of government, and things get sucked into that. There's no doubting, just look at the polls, which you've already referenced, there's no doubting that Labour are in a hole. However, I think he needs to take responsibility, drag the government, drag the party, drag the country back from the brink, show that they have done some good things, breakfast clubs, a massive increase in NHS appointments, which will make a real life difference to people watching these programmes and so forth. He needs to tell that story. He's lost the initiative. He lost the initiative over the summer. I made that point after the summer to reform. They need to be on the front foot. They need to be far more assertive. They cannot do that if Starmer is challenged. I don't think he will be seriously challenged. I think he will take Labour forward over the next couple of years. My question is he the right person to lead Labour into the next general election? And I certainly remain to be convinced.
Well, Keir Starmer could get a vote of no confidence, couldn't he? And that in itself would mean that his party are not behind him, in which case that could, if somebody then comes in instead of him, it's almost like there is not a legitimate mandate for them to lead in a way. So just like when, for example, Theresa May and other leaders have taken on the place of a current sitting elected Prime Minister, they don't really have the support of the public, as it were. It's almost like they are kind of a fake kind of leader that they haven't been given. So that is a risk if they do change the leader as well. And that's the sort of thing that can egg on a general election.
Well, look, there are plenty of people who'd like to have a general election, although I suspect not Nigel Farage, not Zia Youssef. They are desperate to have more time to do the work that they no doubt understand that they have to do to become a remotely serious party of government. I would say that they're not and will not be a remotely serious party of government. But from their perspective, I very much doubt that Farage and his 4 MPs want a general election now. I don't think that Kemi Badenoch wants a general election now because they're facing an existential threat, as you've already pointed out in your monologue or in the headlines. So I don't see a general election coming soon. I take your point that if Labour were replaced now, and if Starmer were replaced now, and I've argued very strongly that he shouldn't be, then you can start to say, well, there's a bit of a democratic deficit, as we saw when the Tories kept replacing their leader. I don't think they'll do it. I think they'd be mad to do it. The 2 MPs who've come out so far and broken cover are relatively fringe MPs, Clive Lewis and Nadia Whitcomb among the 2 of them. I don't think that they stand for the parliamentary party. There is no doubt, Nana, that MPs are concerned. Of course they are. They stand to lose their seats if things continue. Jobs, yeah. But I think they need to rally behind the Prime Minister. I think they need to give him the best chance to fulfil his mandate, and he needs to step up. And yes, he has spent an awful lot of time abroad, and I think he probably needs to roll his sleeves back, get his hands dirty, and show the British public that he can govern at home.
Well, just to correct that as well, Reform UK have 5 MPs, not 4.
I said Nigel Farage and his 4 MPs, so he's one of the 5.
All right. OK, fair enough. I'll give you that. All right. Thank you very much, Matthew Stadlen.
That's the first time you've given me anything, Nana.
Yes, I know. And very generous of me too. All right. Thank you very much, Matthew Stadlen. Good to talk to you. As political commentator Matthew Stadlen with his thoughts. What are yours? Stay with me, though. It's time now for the Great British Giveaway. Just 2 weeks left to grab your chance to enjoy Christmas on us. £40,000 of tax-free cash, shopping vouchers and a GB News festive goodie bag. Here are the details.
There's just 33 days until Christmas, and it's the final week to see how you can enjoy it on us. That's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 fantastic. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family, the tree and decorations. £1,000 in vouchers to buy a slap-up Christmas lunch at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. Plus, we're going to get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck indeed. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Still to come, difficult conversations. Joining me, autism awareness campaigner Anna Kennedy and former LOLO star Vicky Michelle to discuss the Autism Hero Awards, which recognises and celebrates the excellence within the autism community. But next, it is time for the Great British Debate this hour. And I'm asking, do you believe Britain is becoming more racist? This is GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Get ready for this one, because a children's book has claimed that the ancient inhabitants of Scotland were black. Yes, the illustrated book, which aims to make Scottish history accessible to children as young as 4, well, it claimed that Scotland has always been, quote, multicultural and diverse. Let's now speak with the comedian and the GB News contributor, Leo Kearse. Leo, welcome to the show.
This just shows, you can't trust education anymore. You can't trust books anymore. The only history books you can trust are ones that were written before about 20 years ago. And the only historians you can trust are the ones who've been accused of bigotry, because anyone else might be lying so they don't get accused of bigotry. They might be lying to fit in with the current progressive dogma. And when I say progressive, it's obviously not actually progressive. It's progressive in the same terms that a doctor would tell you a disease is progressing. It's not actually progressing in the sense of being good for society. This is flat earth level insanity. This is completely scientifically inaccurate. It's not even like London. I mean, I know in medieval settings, Robin Hood or whatever, they insert black characters in. There were some black people in London because it was a major trade route. The Romans brought some black people or people from North Africa or whatever. But Scotland, I mean, none of them went up to Scotland. They were probably cold enough in Kent. Never mind exposing them to Aberdeen. I mean, I'm about as black as a Scotsman you'd get. There's it's obviously completely fraudulent.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What we're going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
Taxes and rent, the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there
with expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day, all day Wednesday.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon. If you just tuned in, where have you been? Really? We start at 3. OK? 25 minutes after 4 o'clock, I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. And it's time for the Great British Debate this hour. I'm asking, do you believe that Britain is becoming more racist? Following a contentious week in Westminster, the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, recent highly publicised comments regarding her and her family's personal experiences with racism have ignited a national debate. Now, this discussion directly raises challenging questions about the state of modern-day Britain. So for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is Britain becoming more racist? Well, joining me now, political commentator Arman Bogle and political commentator Jonathan Liss. Arman Bogle, we'll start with you.
How dare she accuse Britain of, well, forget becoming more racist, or being racist in the first place. This is the most warm-hearted, welcoming nation on the face of this planet. That's partly the reason why every man and his dog wants to come here and move here from around the world. But more so than that. Look, we've had this whole litany of accusations by, the Labour government, Labour councils. Let's be honest, they've been the ones who've been taking down the Union flags and the cross of St. George from lampposts, accusing ordinary citizens of being far right, when all they want is a nation that is secure, that is safe. But you know what? She's contradicting her own department. According to the Home Office statistics themselves, race hate crimes actually went down 5% year on year to 98,799 offences. And out of that, you know what, Nana? 1/3 were against white people. Now, who's talking about that?
Jonathan Liss.
I think that if you look at anecdotal evidence as well as other statistics, it is undeniable that racism is increasing in the UK. It's not just about
I've just given you the statistics.
Well, as you will know perfectly well, first of all, not all incidents are reported. If someone, sort of shouts a racial slur from a passing car, most people aren't going to report that to the police, because why would they? What is the point?
Wouldn't you think there'd be a correlation?
Let me finish my point. What you do find is that we have seen an extremely large increase in the number of recorded anti-Semitic incidents in this country and Islamophobic hate crimes in this country over the last couple of years. You see from people who have a visible ethnic minority that people are much more comfortable in calling them sort of racial slurs to their face. I don't disagree. I'm sure that Shabana Mahmood is not lying when she talks in Parliament about being called, an effing P word, and with people feel much more comfortable using that language than they did before. And there are many, many reasons for that. But I don't think it's helpful for us to pretend this problem doesn't exist, or say that racism doesn't exist in this country. Racism, of course, exists. How does it help us to lie about that?
Do you think it's helpful for the Home Secretary of the country to call the country she's the Home Secretary of racist in the first place? That is the very definition of peddling division. Let's break this down a bit. Shabana Mahmood, born in Birmingham, self-avowed daughter of Kashmir, peddling sectarianism for the most of her political life, right? She's done that.
What evidence do you have for that?
What evidence do I have? She's the one who ended up going and closing down a branch of Sainsbury's because she disagreed with Sainsbury's selling Israeli produce, right? She's the one...
What about me closed down a Sainsbury's?
Yes, as an activist, as a Labour MP, by the way, right? She has a long history of peddling sectarianism.
How is that sectarian, to protest in favour of Palestinian rights? How is that sectarian?
How is that sectarian?
I believe in Palestinian rights as well. I'm not sectarian.
What have Palestinian rights got to do with delivering for the people of Birmingham, where she's the MP?
So she's not allowed to believe in human rights now?
This is not about human rights.
So Palestinians aren't human then?
No. I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. What I'm saying is her job as an MP in Birmingham was first and foremost to put the rights of her constituents to a better life.
What if her constituents want her to advocate for Palestinian rights as well?
Then what are they doing here? Why don't they go to Gaza?
I beg your pardon. Are you saying that people? Are you saying that people are not allowed? People who care about Palestinian rights should go to Gaza? Is that what you're saying?
Foreign conflicts have got nothing to do with people living in the UK.
A minute ago, you were saying that the UK should lead the world. Now you're saying we shouldn't even care about things that are happening outside our country.
Not on our streets, and certainly not in sectarianism in our parliament.
It's not sectarian.
It is
believe
sectarian.
In Palestinian rights. I've never heard anything so ludicrous in my life.
When you talk about the rights of foreign people in foreign lands, subduing the rights of others who are bringing their foreign sectarian...
You're talking about subduing anyone.
It is.
You're talking about subduing anybody.
OK, so when the Home Secretary self-avows as a daughter of Kashmir, OK, she does that, is she there then also to stand up for the rights of Indian Kashmiris?
Has she ever said anything against Indian people in her career?
She self-avows herself as the daughter of Kashmir.
That's not answering my question. Has she said anything against Indian people in her life, in her career?
Well, hang on a minute. He won't know whether she said anything about it.
That you know of. What's wrong with saying you're yourself?
Sorry. Don't talk over me. He won't know everything that she said about Indian people or whether she said anything. So
he's making a comment about Kashmir.
No, he didn't. But the question you're asking is not one that anyone can answer.
What difference does it make if he's about Kashmir?
Don't interrupt me, because I'm talking, and I don't want you to do that, because I'm sick of it. Okay? What are you looking at me like?
You were speaking, so I'm listening to you.
Oh, that's good. That's very good of you.
Okay.
He won't know the answer to that because he doesn't know everything that she's ever said about anybody and everything. So that's a silly question.
Well, my point was that he was saying that she's a self.
What are you making?
He was saying that she's a self. I can't remember the phrase he used about a daughter of Kashmir. And I said, what relevance does that have to anything?
What relevance that has?
She's allowed to be from Kashmir, isn't she?
Yes. So she's a self-avowed daughter of Kashmir who wants independence for Kashmiris. If we really want to go down this route of importing foreign conflicts into the UK, does that mean that she's against the rights of Indian Kashmiris that do not want a separate state? That's what we're talking about here. This is sectarianism on steroids. This is the Home Secretary who is supposed to stand there and say, you know what, the United Kingdom is the greatest nation on the face of this planet. Yes, every country has problem with bigots. The UK isn't alone in that.
This is absurd. If you can point to me anywhere where she has sought to inflame tensions about Kashmir, then we can talk about that. Saying she's from Kashmir is neither here nor there.
Can we get back to the question? Is Britain becoming more racist? That's where we were.
As I said to you, Nana, I think it is becoming more racist. Absolutely, yes.
Aman, do you think it's becoming more racist?
Britain is the greatest nation in the world. It's the most welcoming, warm-hearted place.
Well, I don't think it's becoming more racist, and I can tell you that because I grew up in the 70s where it was extremely racist, and I can tell you now that, in my view, it's less racist. But I think right now we have so much division, and a lot of it is caused by mass migration, and the whole idea of controlling borders helps to stop that kind of behaviour. And frankly, the way things are going, I'm not surprised that people are very angry with the way the government is handling illegal migration in particular. All right, what do you think? GBNews.com/your say. Still to coming, difficult conversations. Joining the Autism Awareness campaigners Anna Kennedy and former Hello star Vicky Michelle to discuss the Autism Hero Awards, which recognises and celebrates the excellence within the autism community. But next, in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, are the Tories finished? First, let's get your latest news headlines with Bethany Elsey.
Good afternoon. The headlines from the GB Newsroom. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has met with the leaders of France and Germany at the Johannesburg G20 summit to discuss the US drafted peace plan to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her resignation from Congress after falling out with Donald Trump over his reluctance to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein. The owner of the Daily Mail has agreed a £500 million deal to buy the Daily Telegraph. And Australia have beaten England by 8 wickets in the first Ashes test in Perth. Those are the headlines for now. More for you at 5 o'clock.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head our way into Sunday, we can expect further rain overnight tonight, then a day of sunshine and showers, though we are expecting some quite heavy downpours at times. This afternoon, we've also seen a fair amount of rain, particularly across central areas, parts of the south and southeast. This will eventually clear its way through over the course of this evening, but still some heavy outbreaks of rain expected at times. A little drier to the west, though once again plenty of showers starting to feed in, and these will turn heavier as we progress through the early hours of Sunday. The driest and clearest of conditions are likely across the far north and northeast of Scotland, so likely dipping below freezing here, a widespread frost and some possible icy stretches, but nevertheless for all it is going to be quite a chilly start to Sunday. And this leads us into quite an unsettled day. Plenty of clear skies across northern areas of Scotland and remaining mostly dry here. But as we head our way towards the southwest of Scotland, some quite heavy downpours. This is similar across Northern Ireland, many areas of northern England too, and some quite blustery conditions under cloudier skies here. Perhaps a little clear across Wales and the southwest, but still some showers and also some heavy persistent downpours just moving into many areas of eastern England too. And quite a blustery day on offer, particularly across parts of the southwest. Any areas surrounding the Bristol Channel could see some quite strong winds through the day, but there will be some brighter spells, if not some sunshine later into the day, but there will be some showers mixed in there too. These too still could be rather heavy at times, and still on the chillier side, though not quite as cold across many areas of England and Wales. Highs reaching 9 to 10 here, but around the mid-single figures elsewhere towards the north. And still as we progress into the evening, plenty of cloud, some showery outbreaks, but as we head into next week, there will be more sunshine, but turning chilly again with some overnight frosts and feeling quite cold during the day too. But nevertheless, there will be some more brighter spells.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back, 37 minutes after 4 o'clock. If you just tuned in, welcome. Anna Nicey's here, she's returned. It's time for the Great British Debate this hour. I'm asking, are the Tories finished? Polling leaked from Party HQ suggests that they would keep just 14 seats in a general election if it were held right now. Whilst Reform UK is predicted to win a 46-seat majority. So for the Great British Debate this hour, I've got to ask you, do you think the Tories are finished? Joining me now, political commentator Aman Bogle, also political commentator Jonathan Liss. I'll come to you, Jonathan Liss, first.
Oh, thank you, Nana. Well, let me say, are the Tories finished? I think, a bit like a zombie in a zombie film, you think that you kill the zombie, but then it kind of rises up in the sequel. It rises up actually 5 minutes later because it's then very... Well, I don't think anyone's... I don't think anyone's tried to kill me on this show just yet. Well, they might have, but they haven't succeeded. We live to fight another day. Look, the point is that you don't underestimate the Conservative Party because they are the most successful party in British history. Having said that, you could be forgiven for thinking that they were on their last legs this time, and that if at any time the Conservative Party were to die, alas, RIP, now would be the time, because they have completely, wholly failed to capitalise on any of Labour's unpopularity. And what you have is that all of Labour's unpopularity, the sole beneficiary, is Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, and that is on Badenoch, that is on the Conservative Party. It is unprecedented that you have.
I think some of it might be on the Labour Party as well. I mean, bad.
But no, of course, absolutely. But it's completely on the Conservative Party that they've not been able to capitalise on any of that and draw any of the benefits from that. It's unprecedented that you lose an election so catastrophically, and then it turns out that that wasn't the bottom, that things can get even worse. It's never happened before in British political history.
It has now, though, hasn't it?
It has now. It has now. And you know, this is about circumstances. The people are not ready to forgive the Tories yet, but it's absolutely also on the Tories because they have no distinct identity. They're not saying anything, and they're not making themselves in any way distinctive.
Do you not think, I mean, they're distinguishing themselves from the Labour Party in respect they want to get out of the ECHR?
Well, absolutely, indeed. I mean, if anything, I think the Labour Party right now in government are the cast of the Walking Dead, to be honest, all over the place with no brains in sight. But look, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, not a single member of the cabinet, for example, has run a successful enterprise. We have a bunch of human rights lawyers. But anyway, going back to the Conservative Party.
The Labour Party.
This is the Labour Party. I mean, going back to the Conservative Party now, I think, look, this has been the most successful political party in British history, if not world history, and more to that. For two-thirds of the 20th century, the Conservative Party led Britain. And that's testament to three things. A, the resilience of the Conservative Party in years gone by. Secondly, it's what people generally in the UK have wanted in terms of direction. But most importantly, I would argue, Britain, look, Nana, is a inherently conservative nation. We're a nation that is steeped in not just heritage but tradition, but also that wants its civilizational inheritance secure. And in that vein, I think, as Danny Kruger said, a couple of months ago, the flame of conservatism burns bright in the UK, and now it's being carried as a new torch by Reform UK. And that's what this is all about.
Well, perhaps the problem was with the Conservatives that they became Liberal Democrats. Well, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
They did. Because OK, so the Green policies, what was that about? Net zero. What's that about? They let the most amount of people come here legally via immigration, and then I don't blame them fully for the economy, because they did have to deal with COVID, and they did have to deal with the mess that was created by themselves, obviously, by the way they negotiated
Brexit and Liz Truss.
But that wasn't literally their fault, because you must remember that there was those within their own party who fought against Brexit, and those who within other parties who fought against Brexit as well. So the mass political elite didn't want Brexit. So they didn't enable a decent deal.
I agree with you, Nana. I think, look, I've been on the other side of the table when it comes to the Conservative Party. I stood as their Conservative Party parliamentary candidate and a variety of other roles in the party. And I can tell you that the conversation I had on many occasions was, look, do we really want to build a coalition after an election, or do we want to build a coalition of a broad church party before an election? And that's what it really boiled down to, that too many wings of the party were trying to weigh for attention, and it ended up, as you said, becoming Tories in name, the Liberal Democrats in action. If you look at the policies they delivered, but what did we promise? We promised that we'd cut immigration to the tens of thousands. The Conservative Party delivered migration in the millions. But more so than that, I coined this phrase, Nana, called IBTCD, which is basically literally every problem that the country faces today can be boiled down to the Conservative Candidates Department. And that basically means I blame the Conservative Candidates Department, because literally the calibre of people that we selected, the churn of ministers that we had through ministries, it all tells us that there is something rotten in the heart of Westminster. And the same thing is now true with the Labour Party.
Do you think that's true? I mean, the Labour Party, they've got a selection of candidates who, God, they seem to be a very divided party. They've got this sort of Westminstery kind of North London-y sect, which I'd say is more the Keir Starmer. Then they've got the really far left, and then they've got, I mean, even their own party wouldn't allow reform with the welfare, and that's really where a lot of spending is. It's unsustainable.
Well, look, you can have a discussion about welfare and about a big tranche of welfare, which goes through pensioners, by the way. And I'm sure that we'll have a discussion about the triple lock in the next few years, maybe even by the end of this Parliament. So I don't think that it's the candidates. I think that certainly the ministers
They were
a
the
problem.
candidates, though, weren't they?
Well, I think it's... I think it's a sorry state if you're saying that out of hundreds of people, you can't assemble sort of a couple of dozen who are good enough to lead the country. Now, that was absolutely the point at the end of
welfare. I'm saying that the kind of people who are now sort of all the backbenchers that are riling against it, when really and truly we need to be saving money. So it's the sort of candidates that they have in there that feel that that they should be fighting against some cuts in welfare.
I think,
and that doesn't really smack to me as common sense. I don't agree with the things they were planning to cut in the welfare. They got that wrong.
No one stands to be, or very few people stand to be Labour candidates in Parliament or Labour MPs because they want to cut benefits of people or to have austerity. That's not a Labour.
Well, no,
it shouldn't be the Labour.
Well, it should be in terms of really protecting this country from ludicrous spending that is completely unsustainable for anybody and everybody, which will result in the whole collapse, and nobody will get anything then. But this show's nothing without your views. Let's welcome our great British voice, your opportunity to be on the show and tell us what you think about the topics we're discussing. We'll go back to Watford and have a chat with David Barham. Well, are the Tories toast? Is it all over? Where do you stand with all of this?
Hello, Nana. I think they've been toast for many years. The reason that they got such a whopping majority was they had the reform vote for Brexit. They touched the red wall heartland, and that was down to Boris. At least Boris had a personality. Unless they can find a charismatic leader, and I'm sure Kemi Baydock is a lovely lady, I've never met her, they can't possibly be anywhere near where they were for many, many years. Even before when Major took the Conservatives into the wilderness and Blair came in, they at least had a reasonable chance of getting back in. So for the moment, unless they can find something that says, we are the Conservatives and this is what we stand for, Reform will take their colours and Reform will become I believe, will become the next Parliament. Labour have got enough issues with their own infighting with Jeremy Corbyn and co. and the Islamists, and they will also be crushed at the next election. And Keir Starmer is doing everything he can to stop it.
I think he's doing everything he can to facilitate it, really.
That's true.
Inadvertently.
That's true.
Thank you very much, David Barham. Really good to talk to you.
Pleasure.
It's David Barham in Watford, my great British voice. Now, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here are some of the top destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
It's an unsettled day on Sunday in the UK, but it's also unsettled across parts of Greece with blustery showers. Meanwhile, for the Canaries, not too bad. Madeira seeing sunny spells and plenty of settled weather for Spain and parts of Portugal, although northern parts of Portugal into the south of France, there will be some rain, and it's showery across Italy, but more so for parts of Greece and Croatia, where there'll be some heavy downpours and strong winds. Very unsettled Central Med next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
Taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day, all day Wednesday.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, welcome to GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Don't forget, you can download the GB News app. It is completely free. But lots of you have been saying stuff. We'll have a look at what you've been saying. Let's take a look at your says then. Somewhere along the way that the Tories forgot how to be conservative. This one is from, they've done them in the script. That's nice. All right, well, listen, this is some of your says. BT says somewhere along the way, the Tories forgot how to be conservative and insisted on pursuing socialist policies, mass immigration, high taxes, bloated state, etc. I want one of them to admit this and say that we will not do this no more. All right. Well, listen, keep your thoughts coming. I'll read some of those again. But there's a brand new way that you can take part in the conversation by becoming a friend of GB News for free. Have a listen.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on Your Say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Yes, so be a friend of GB News. We'd love to get you on board. Now, lots of you have been getting in touch, being friends and telling me what you think. Let's see what we've got here. There's one here about you, Jonathan. Rob says Labour are at a desperate stage of their existence and like a dying animal they will do anything to survive, which is why they're clinging to the racist and Russia argument with reform. The truth is that this tactic has never worked. Just look at America. The British electorate always votes out of government. However, this time round the public are swinging in behind reform as they are offering plans and solutions that this country needs. Let's see what else we've got there. There's one nice one for you, Jonathan. We always like to find a nice one. This one here from Susan. She says, Nana, I also grew up in the 70s in Lewisham, South East London. When I started to work, we had to board the windows of our salon because of the race wars. Back then, it was definitely black against white. And these days, I truly believe black and white people stand shoulder to shoulder because we're seeing the downfall of our once great country. Who has caused this? Starmer, she says, and his constant grovelling to the memes. By the way, Nana, great work silencing the big mouth lefty. You totally deserved that. See?
You said it was a nice one. You said it was a nice one.
It was. They called you only a big mouth. Teasing you. What else have I got here? There's so many comments. Lots of people getting in touch. gbnews.com/yoursay. I love hearing all of your thoughts, but somehow I've managed to go to another page, which was the wrong thing to do. Yes. Oh, here we go. This one. Hazel says, I agree. Tories are not finished. Kemi is doing a great job. I actually do think she is doing a good job with the limited things she has to deal with, because obviously the party have been in a bit of a...
And there was another one, Nana, from Rocket Cat. He says, I'd imagine most Reform voters voters will have a lot of respect for Aman, but we are all supposed to be rampant racists. So how does that work?
Yeah. Well, that's the way people seem to think, but I don't get that because I think some of those policies are sensible and reasonable. But you're with me. Still to come, difficult conversations with autism awareness campaigners Anna Kennedy and former Allo Allo star Vicky Michelle. I shall say this only once. But first, let's get an update with your weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head our way into Sunday, we can expect further rain overnight tonight, then a day of sunshine and showers, though we are expecting some quite heavy downpours at times. This afternoon, we've also seen a fair amount of rain, particularly across central areas, parts of the south and southeast. The whistle will eventually clear its way through over the course of this evening, but still some heavy outbreaks of rain expected at times. A little drier to the west, though once again plenty of showers starting to feed in, and these will turn heavier as we progress through the early hours of Sunday. The driest and clearest of conditions are likely across the far north and northeast of Scotland, so likely dipping below freezing here, a widespread frost and some possible icy stretches, but nevertheless for all, it is going to be quite a chilly start to Sunday. And this leads us into quite an unsettled day. Plenty of clear skies across northern areas of Scotland and remaining mostly dry here. But as we head our way towards the southwest of Scotland, some quite heavy downpours. This is similar across Northern Ireland, many areas of northern England too, and some quite blustery conditions under cloudier skies here. Perhaps a little clear across Wales and the southwest, but still some showers and also some heavy persistent downpours just moving into many areas of eastern England too. And quite a blustery day on offer, particularly across parts of the southwest. Any areas surrounding the Bristol Channel could see some quite strong winds through the day, but there will be some brighter spells, if not some sunshine later into the day, but there will be some showers mixed in there too. These two still could be rather heavy at times and still on the chillier side, though not quite as cold across many areas of England and Wales. Highs reaching 9 to 10 here, but around the mid-single figures elsewhere towards the north. And still as we progress into the evening, plenty of cloud, some showery outbreaks, but as we head into next week, there will be more sunshine, but turning chilly again with some overnight frosts and feeling quite cold during the day too. But nevertheless, there will be some more brighter spells.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you can enjoy Christmas on us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get this on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Hello, good evening and welcome to GB News. We're Britain's #1 news channel. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. It is 5 o'clock. Anna Akua. For the next hour, me and my panel will be taking on some of the big topics hitting the headlines right now. This show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and of course it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. So joining me for the next hour, political commentators Arman Bogle and also Jonathan Liss. Now, throughout the show, I've been asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? The Prime Minister's popularity is at record lows back home, but many of his supporters believe that he has impressed leaders abroad. So, I've been asking, is he great on the world stage? My poll is up live. It will be up for the next 15 minutes. I'd love to hear your thoughts, cast your vote. Now, very shortly, I'll be speaking with the CEO, the co-founder, of E! Entertainment TV, Larry Namer, to discuss trust in public institutions in the wake of the Trump BBC Panorama scandal. You won't want to miss that. That is coming up very shortly. Then, in Difficult Conversations, joining me, autism awareness campaigners Anna Kennedy and former Allo Allo star Vicky Michelle. I just said this only once. I've done that joke 3 times now. It's losing its punch. She'll be discussing the Autism Hero Awards, which recognises and celebrates the excellence within the autism community. They'll both be joining me in the studio very shortly. And of course, the capital's mayor has been on a trip of his own.
The cost of your Africa trip, which costs the taxpayer £83,000, or does streamlining only ever apply to everyone else's footprint but yours?
Stay tuned to find out Mayor Khan's response to that one. And of course, in case you missed my niggle.
Questions about mental health, masculinity, social media. I remember when we watched Adolescence together. And as a dad, it was tough to see at times.
Hello. How are you?
At gbnews.com or on YouTube and on our social media channels. But before we get started, let's get your latest news with Bethany Elsey.
Nana, thank you. Good evening. Your top stories from the GB newsroom at 5:02. The Prime Minister says further talks will be held on the US proposed peace deal for Ukraine and Russia in Switzerland tomorrow, and that he'll speak with President Volodymyr Zelensky this evening. Sir Keir Starmer and other European leaders say the draft includes essential elements for a just and lasting peace, but that it requires additional work. The 28-point proposal would see Vladimir Putin walk away with full ownership over the Donbass region of Donetsk and Luhansk, as well as Crimea. Donald Trump says Volodymyr Zelensky has until Thursday to decide whether to approve the plans or risk losing weapons and intelligence. Prime Minister Starmer says Ukraine should have the final say.
One of the elements in the 28-point plan is the security guarantee from the US, an Article 5 guarantee. That's about the strongest guarantee that can be put forward. And so that fortifies in me the belief that what we're all trying to achieve here is a just and lasting peace, but it'll only be just and lasting if there are security guarantees and if we bear in mind that matters for Ukraine are always to be determined by Ukraine.
A new poll has revealed the Conservatives would win just 14 seats if a general election were called now. According to the Telegraph, some Tory insiders think the party is in danger of being consigned to the history books. The poll predicts Reform would win a 46-seat majority, raising questions over Kemi Badenoch's leadership of the party. Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her resignation from Congress following a highly publicised falling out with Donald Trump. In recent weeks, the Republican Congresswoman has clashed with the US president on immigration, America's involvement in foreign wars, and his reluctance over releasing all the files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. In a video posted on X last night, the former Trump loyalist said her last day in office would be January the 5th.
I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well.
The owner of the Daily Mail is in talks to buy the Daily Telegraph and its Sunday sister title for £500 million. The Daily Mail and General Trust says it has entered exclusive negotiations with Redbird IMI to finalise the terms of the transaction. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy will review the potential new deal. Children as young as 10 will be given puberty blockers on the NHS from early next year after a trial was granted ethical approval. It follows the banning of the drug last year after a major review raised concerns about the lack of evidence over their safety for under 18s. Experts have now launched a clinical trial looking at the impact of the drugs on their physical, social and emotional well-being. The study by King's College London will recruit around 250 children aged 10 to 15 who identify as transgender and who have parental consent. And Australia have beaten England by 8 wickets in the first Ashes test in Perth. England captain Ben Stokes admitted he was left shell-shocked after Australia crushed his side in 2 days at Perth. That's the fastest Ashes defeat in over 100 years. You're up to date. More for you in half an hour.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Good afternoon. It is 6 minutes after 5 o'clock. Welcome to GB News. We're live on TV, online, on digital radio and on the GB News app, which is completely free. You can download it right now. But still to come very shortly, I'll be speaking with co-founder of Entertainment TV, Larry Namer, to discuss trust in public institutions in the wake of the Trump BBC Panorama scandal. You won't want to miss that. Larry Namer is a big name in TV. He's the one who founded Entertainment. Then coming up, difficult conversations, joining me, autism awareness campaigners Anna Kennedy and Vicky Michelle to discuss the Autism Hero Awards, which recognises and celebrates the excellence within the autism community. They'll both be in the studio. Then, for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is it time for Sir Sadiq Khan to stay at home? London Mayor racked up £83,000 worth in terms of a bill on a recent trip to Africa. But should he not be focusing on crime in our capital? So in that debate, I'm asking, is it time for Sir Sadiq Khan to basically focus his efforts at home? Send me your thoughts, post your comments at gbnews.com/your say. So, of course, we are in the midst of the whole clash with the BBC and Donald Trump. But what does it say about the current state of the media right now, that landscape? Are we growing more suspicious of institutions than ever? And, of course, AI as well is currently on the scene as well. That's why I thought that trip was the Keir Starmer. No, not that one. But the message to his son, I thought that must be AI, but it wasn't. Or a deep fake, it wasn't. And global spin shaping what we do. How do audiences and journalists make sense of it all? And how do the viewers even trust anything they see? Well, let's ask the founder of Entertainment TV, Larry Namer, who joins me live now. Larry, so good to have your company. Thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, though, before before we get into that, tell people a bit about yourself, because some people in the UK might not know about what you do and what your contribution so far to TV has been.
Sure. Me and my partner, Alan Marufka, my business partner, we, years ago came up with this idea when, cable TV was still a little bit of a growing industry. And, we looked at MTV and said, they stand a host in front of a green screen and say, and Madonna has a new video. We thought we were really smart. We said we could stand a host in front of a green screen and go, Schwarzenegger has a new movie. So we wrote a business plan, and we thought we were really smart, but it took us years to get it going. And, the comments were, we did over 100 pitches before we raised $1. And it's one of the only, still remaining, back then it was the only TV network, on a global scale that was ever started by regular people as opposed to media companies. And that's kind of the comments we got. Everybody said, you're not Time Warner, or you're not Disney, or you're not Fox. You can't just start a TV network. People don't do that. And we weren't smart enough to listen. So we raised a little bit of money. We got it going. He is now in, I think we're 142 countries, and the valuation is up above $7 billion. And I think it still remains the only global, this distributed TV network done by people as opposed to media companies and stuff. And then I went off, I started a media company in Russia. I had the #1 TV show in Russia for years. And more recently been in China and doing programming in Mandarin language. For a culture I didn't grow up in, and language I don't speak terribly well. But we've done pretty well in China. We still do a lot of stuff in China. But with COVID, been back here in the US and doing mainly projects that have a social good component to them.
Yeah. So what do you make of what's currently going on in the UK? Of course, the stuff with the BBC. Because, you've done entertainment TV, but now you're seeing the way this sort of TV media landscape is changing. What do you think? What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I think, to me, as a bystander in this war, this media war that's going on, it just looks like to me, it's more of a clash of egos than it is, on folks really trying to get the true stories out there. Everything seems to me ego-driven as opposed to logic-driven or fact-driven.
Because obviously in the UK you've seen that there was a couple of pieces on a big broadcast of the BBC where they kind of appeared to edit something in a way that literally said the opposite of what Donald Trump had said. So on one, he was talking about marching peacefully, but they changed it and they added the words fight, fight, fight. So taking a piece of information that was said about 45 to 50 minutes later and then sort of put them together as though they were one, which made a very different inference as to what he was saying in the original clip. Do you feel that now media has become less trusted?
Yeah, I think clearly it's less trusted. I mean, you dip into the audiences that are below 35 or even 40 these days, and there's not a heck of a lot of faith in media telling the true story. I mean, I go back to the very beginnings of reality TV, and, people don't realize that, in order to get that 1 hour of a reality show, you probably had to shoot 10, 15, 20 hours of stuff, and the stories are put together in an edit room. Yeah. They're not necessarily put together by journalism or journalists.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's why I'd never go on one of those reality shows unless it was completely live throughout and there was no sort of dodgy editing. Because in the first clip that they doctored, on which was, I think, on Newsnight on the BBC, that one was live. And actually the fact that the edit had happened was called out live on air and they couldn't take that out. So I think I'd rather do live stuff. But what about with the emergence of AI now? Because that's making things even harder to determine the truth from reality. Yeah,
and you've got AI. I think I'm a proponent of AI because I think there's so much good that can be done with it. But, you know, we don't really have the guardrails in place that protect, you know, bad people or people with ill intent and, you know, from doing bad things. I think in the UK as well as the US and just about every place in the world, we've really got to start focusing on, you know, how we do put, I call them guardrails, you know, but they're just, how do we create deterrence so that bad people, you know, we can identify things that are, you know, deep fakes or generated by AI as opposed to, you know, good journalistic practice. We just don't have that now because I think everything I see, you know, the politicians or the regulators are so afraid of this that they think if they put their head in the sand, it's going to go away. And it's not going away. I mean, AI is going to be a big part, more and more a bigger part of our lives. And, you know, we need to put things in place that identify this stuff and control it. And, you know, unfortunately, with the news world now, you know, we've stopped really having journalists that go out and try and find the truth in a story. And, you know, for the most part, and again, I'm generalizing, you know, we have newsreaders that, you know, you have people in, you know, the ivory towers that are looking at what are the stories we need to tell in order to get XYZ viewers, because we know we could sell those viewers to advertisers. And the stories are, you know, again, put together in an edit room to appeal to the audience that is going to satisfy the needs of advertisers as opposed to satisfy the needs of good journalism.
Well, I say we don't need to worry about that because a lot of advertisers won't come on our channel for some, and we don't get the real reason, seeing as we are the #1 news channel in the UK right now, so it makes no sense. Larry Namer, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your thoughts. That is Larry Namer. He's the founder of E! Entertainment TV, a huge TV network across the world. It's a global network. But right now, the countdown has begun as we're just days away from the Chancellor's autumn budget. But what exactly will Rachel Reeves unveil? Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer told GB News that the budget will be based on Labour values.
Well, we will set out the budget in just a few days' time, but the principles are clear. It'll be a Labour budget with Labour values. That means it will be fair, and it will do three things, or three principles. One is protecting our public services, including, of course, the NHS, where we put record investment in and waiting lists are going down. We'll make sure that we're cutting the debt, vitally important for our country, and that we're bearing down on the cost of living, which, for all your viewers, I don't doubt is going to be the #1 issue. So they're the principles that we'll take into the budget.
So what can we expect from Rachel Reeves and her budget? Professor of Economics and Public Policy Jonathan Portes joins me now. Jonathan, what do you think that Rachel is going to do?
I think clearly taxes are going to go up. It looks likely that there will be a further freeze in income tax thresholds. That's what the previous government did for several years, and it looks like that will be extended. So that effectively means that as your income goes up, the value of your tax allowance goes down in real terms. And then there'll be a bunch of changes which will likely hit people who are somewhat at the better off and older people. In particular, it looks like that there'll be something that may be called a mansion tax, but it won't be a tax on mansions. It'll be tax on higher value properties. There'll be increased taxes on gambling, possibly some increased taxes on banks, and then on the other side, there's also going to be some things that will help people at the lower end of the income distribution. So probably something to help people with energy bills, maybe lower income, poorer people with energy bills. And we hope the end of the 2-child limit, which of course penalizes larger families and lower and middle income families.
But what about saving, so cutting spending? Do you think we're likely to hear much of that? Because that is the real fly in the ointment.
I think that's very unlikely spending will be cut. And realistically, it's not clear where you could get very significant savings. Remember, the NHS is under pressure. There's a lot of people who want to see the NHS delivering. And while the NHS could certainly spend its money better, I don't think anyone in their right mind thinks that cutting NHS spending is a particularly sensible thing to do or would improve services. The other big areas of spending, pensions, well, we have the triple lock, which pretty much all parties are committed to. So that locks in spending on that. And then there is welfare spending. But I think we've seen in the past year that if you just try and cut welfare spending, you generate a huge backlash, in particular from disabled people. So while over the long term, getting people back to work and getting welfare spending down is something that the government really needs to do, any government needs to do, it doesn't save you money in the short run because you actually need to invest money in services that get people back to work, and that isn't cheap.
What about in terms of cutting benefits for migrants and things like that? Do you think that won't fly either, will it?
Not really, because frankly, there's very little money to be saved there. We had Nigel Farage talking absolute nonsense last week when he claimed there were large savings here, because most migrants who are claiming benefits are actually doing so because they have rights under the European Union settled status scheme. And those, not only does that mean that we've already signed a treaty binding in international law that says that they have to be treated roughly like Brits, but also, and perhaps more importantly, those people actually have the right to be British citizens. Remember, Brexit was almost 5 years ago now. So all of those people actually have chosen, some of them already are British citizens, just doesn't show up in the DWP statistics yet, and the rest of them have the right to be British citizens. So the idea that Farage's idea that you could save a lot of money by taking away benefits from them is just, it's complete nonsense, whatever you think of the...
Yeah, but he's not alone. I mean, Shabana Mahmood's plans were, she had some kind of similar plans that would limit the amount of benefits and so on and so forth. I mean, he's not on his own with that. So, I mean, to be fair...
That's true, but Mahmood did not come... Well, first of all, Mahmood explicitly ruled out doing that to Europeans. And remember, that is a substantial majority of non-Brits.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you're saying, no, well, it doesn't matter who she's saying that she would cut them for or whatever. The point now I'm making is...
Well, it does,
because... Well, no, let me get to my point. The point I'm making is that if his was a nonsense and ludicrous and racist or whatever policy, then so would hers be, even if it applies to different, you know, a smaller section or a different section of people. That's my point.
No,
I'm just saying that they're both doing the same thing, but to maybe different sectors. That's my point.
First of all, that's completely untrue. But second, we're talking about the budget and whether you can make significant savings. Mahmood, quite rightly, did not come out and say, we're going to save £12 billion by doing this, which is what Farage did. So Mahmood will, no doubt, in due course, say that the government will save a few £100 million by
Jonathan, I have to leave it there, because I have some studio guests that are coming. But we need a longer section. We can talk about this for ages, because I think you're totally wrong. But you can't say back because you're off air. Right, so stay with me. Coming up, difficult conversations. I'll be joined by autism awareness campaigners Anna Kennedy and LOLO star Vicky Michelle to discuss the Autism Hero Awards, which recognise and celebrate the excellence within the autism community. This is GB News, Britain's #1 news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
I can't believe it's taken them so long to get angry about it. This cross has been there since a football tournament 9 years ago, isn't it?
Well, what is the point of getting angry about it? At the end of the day, we're here to celebrate being an English pub, supporting English teams, football, cricket, the Ashes is due next week, rugby, and this has been up since 2016, the Euros. Up for 9 years, less 2 years when we had the pandemic. So it's been up to 9 years, 7 years total.
So you put it in 2016 during the Euros to support the England team, the Three Lions. Fat lot of good that did us, but there we go. We are England. It will take more than a cross on a pub to make a blind bit of difference on that front. I digress. The point is, it's been up for 9 years. No one's had a problem with it, but suddenly Jerry, they do have a problem with it. And that's because, if I'm correct in assuming, they're dragging you in with the Raise the Colours initiative that's happened recently, but it's nothing to do with that.
No, this is totally nothing to do with it at all. It's based on the fact that it's got a bit political now. Unfortunately for me, I'm also a Wiltshire councillor for Pewsey. I've represented them since 1995, and now my own planning committee have decided that I'm going to have we'll have to call it retrospective permission.
Are they going to make you whitewash over your magnificent St George's Cross?
I've actually no intention of doing that, I'm afraid. This is a bit more of a political thing now. I think we've no longer got control of Wiltshire. The Dems have. They're a little bit naive when it comes to planning issues and that. A lot of retrospectives going on. This will stay. I've applied for retrospective permission. My architect's Fowlers of Pewsey. We will wait and see what the planning committee come up with then.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon. It is 25 minutes after 5 o'clock. If you just tuned in, where have you been? OK, fine, but you're here now. Remember, tomorrow it's 3 o'clock. You're with me, I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We are Britain's #1 news channel. We're live on TV, online, on digital radio and, of course, on the GB News app. But it is now time for this week's Difficult Conversations, which is with Autism Awareness campaigner Anna Kennedy and also Hello Hello star Vicky Michelle. Now, Anna runs a charity, Anna Kennedy Online, which established the Autism Hero Awards. Now, this was to recognise and celebrate excellence within the community, which is a unique opportunity to celebrate accomplishments and enhance autism awareness and acceptance. I'm pleased to say that both Anna and Vicky join me now. Hello.
Hello. Or hello, hello.
Hello, Vicky Michelle. Gosh, you must get that all the time when people see you. Yeah. But it's great, though.
I know, it's nice because people love the series.
Yeah.
So it's always with affection.
Well, thank you both for coming in. It's so good to see you both. Now, Anna, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about autism and why you got involved with this, because some people don't know the story as to why you set up Anna Kennedy Online.
Well, I have two sons. They're now 32 and 35, and I'm proud to say that my eldest son, Patrick, is in Stockholm at the moment on his own, so that's like a big step for him to go on holiday, and he's loving it. So they both were diagnosed fairly young, and the support at the time was just non-existent. So we had to set up our own school, and then we set up a vocational college for my youngest son, Angelo, and it was all because of the boys not getting the support that they deserved. As I always say, they're not second-class citizens. You know, they just want the same as everybody else, and they just want that little bit of extra support to help them.
Now, how do you know that they're autistic? Is there a blood test? Is it something where you have a list of symptoms? Or because some people say, oh, I've got ADHD and this and that, and I think sometimes people conflate it with autism. Are there parallels with the two, or are they totally separate? Because it's confusing.
They're very different from each other, both Patrick and Angelo. So Angelo was diagnosed fairly early at 2.5, 3. He passed all the milestones and then he just lost everything. His speech, eye contact, didn't want to be touched, didn't even want me to hug him at the time, running from one end of the room to the other, squealing, and it was just like, what is going on? And as a mum, you're thinking, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong?
Oh, no.
Patrick was diagnosed fairly early again, but he was premature, and I thought the difficulties that he was having because he was 11 weeks premature, I thought, is it because he had a bit of a difficult start, in and out of hospital, and then he was diagnosed at 4, and then we found out when he was 7, when he was struggling at school. He was finding school difficult, being bullied. So it's an autism spectrum condition, and if you feel that there might be, something that I'm not quite sure, I can't get a handle on it, please go and see your GP and just ask for your child to be assessed. But the difficulty at the minute is the waiting list is so long to get a diagnosis or an assessment. Some parents are waiting 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You've got children struggling at school, and the teachers are not knowing quite, what support needs to be put in place. So it's very, very frustrating. So hence why the Autism Hero Awards, and you can see a fantastic work that's going on across the country, and the government needs to come and have a look at what's going on there.
And also, you said to me that the earlier it's diagnosed, then the more help that the children can have. So I think that's really important. I think it's really bad that the government aren't doing anything, because there is a lot of autism, Asperger's, and all different forms of that.
There's a lot of cuts in place now, so that's what people are worried about.
But they're doing cuts in the wrong places. You know, and Anna, I mean, she's a hero. She is a hero.
Yeah.
For, you know, she's got 2 schools that you opened, a college, and now just concentrating on the charity. And unbelievable lady, because you as a mum went out and fought for your kids, and when they're not getting what they should have. And so you've made that happen. And I think that's brilliant, should be applauded.
Because it must be very hard work as well, not only having to do that, look after your 2 children, but also, you know, setting up something where hopefully your legacy can continue, so that, you know, when the children have to, you know, fend for themselves, that there is support for them.
Yeah.
Now, Vicky, why did you get involved?
Well, I've got a friend, a really good friend, and one of her sons had Asperger's, and a lot of other friends that have got autistic children. And I grew up with him. You know, I saw him grow up, and he's really successful now. But I just saw her struggling, and I think if I can do anything to help autistic children or children with Asperger's or whatever, then I will. Because you know, it's something that is affecting a lot of people nowadays, and it needs to be addressed.
Now, you're judging at the Autism's Got Talent Awards. When you're seeing the children and those performing...
Oh, yes,
they're so talented.
I know. Well, this was the Autism's Got Talent.
Yeah.
So they were just brilliant. And you're going, oh, my God, they should be on the stage. A lot of them are on the stage, but you've got the up-and-coming ones that are so talented, you think you should be on theatre.
Yeah.
You know, so good. And it's like gobsmackingly good. Yeah, and that was brilliant. And then you've got the wonderful Lana, who remembered the periodic tables. There's like 118 chemicals, and she just reeled them off, and I went, whoa, how do you remember that? How brilliant is that?
And so with the Autism Hero Awards, this is the one that is coming up.
Yes.
What are you looking for when you're judging?
Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. Because everyone is a worthy winner. And then you've got to make up your mind between those people, the nominees that... And it's really, really difficult. But you have to just go, no, I think this one, because one will usually stand out and you'll go, right, that's it. But you feel really guilty. And what's going to happen with...
Yeah, so the Hero Awards started off... I used to present them in Wales, and it was just in the Wales area. So one of the mums, after a couple of years, just said, you know, I can't carry on with this. I want to hand it over to you, because I know that you will continue it. So I said, can I open it up to the United Kingdom? So she said, yes, please do. So we've been doing that now for about 6 years, and we get so many nominations. There's 11 different categories, and we've just got a new category as well, the Animal-Human Bond Award, because there's a lot of animals out there that really help a lot of the autistic children and adults. So the judges, I'm so glad that I don't have to do it.
That is so mean.
They have to choose 3 finalists for each category, and then they come along to the evening, like you did with Stephen, and then the winners are announced on the night, and it's quite an emotional evening. So, Nana, I want to ask you, would you like to be one of our judges this year?
Really?
Yeah.
Really difficult.
So you are going to find out what it's like.
You know, because I've
So
seen...
hard.
Because when I went to the Autism's Got Talent, I mean, I was crying. Because they were so talented, and you're like, oh, these poor... You know, but there was one lovely young man. He was blind, but he played the piano.
Yeah, Chapman.
Oh, excellent.
I know.
Absolute, the talent. So the Autism Hero Awards, I'm presuming, it's not so much as in what talent you do, but...
No, it's to do with, like, parents that go the extra mile, carers, young siblings, you've got businesses, you've got the Community Award, you've got the People's Hero Award. So we always get a lot of mums, a lot of nominations for mums, so be prepared. But it is quite emotional. Bring your tissues. Because you're reading the stories, don't you? And you just think, oh, which one?
But there are so many people out there doing amazing work to help autistic children, and they're not recognised. And so what you're doing is recognising these people, because they're not doing it so they get gratification or thanks. But now there is something where you can actually say...
Not so much for people with autism, but those who help them.
Who help them, exactly.
No, autistic individuals as well, who might have set up their own business or, you know...
Wonderful. So how do people, if they want to take part, how do they get involved? Where do they go?
OK, so the closing date is the end of January 31st. So there's the information's on the charity website, which is www.annakennedyonline.com, and you can see the link. You need to 500 words, photograph, any links that help the nomination, and then obviously the judges have to filter through them all and choose 3 finalists. Then we contact the finalists, and they might come along with their families, friends, 3-course meal. Some of our Autism's Got Talent performers perform on the night. We have celebrities that present. And if you want to sponsor one of the awards, please do get in contact. It's a lovely, lovely evening, and it's going to be taking place at the Holiday Inn in May. So 31st of January, get those entries in. We want to see what you're doing.
And it would be fantastic if people could donate to the charity, because it's quite hard out there, I think.
So many charities
so many
that are closing
charities
down
that
at the
need-
minute.
And you do such a good job, I think.
And the smaller
really
charities,
lovely.
yeah.
So they can go to your website, AnnaKennedyOnline.com.
That's it, yeah.
For everything. Thank you so much, Anna Kennedy and the fabulous Vicky.
And look,
and the fabulous
Nana. I love that. Thank you so much. I'll be in tears.
You'll be crying.
Thank you so much, Wes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For joining us. That's brilliant. That's Anna Kennedy and Vicky Michelle joining us live. Make sure you check out that website. But if you just tuned in, 35 minutes after 5 o'clock, this is GB News, Britain's #1 news channel. Coming up next, it is time for the Great British Debate this hour. I'm asking, is it time for Sir Sadiq Khan to stay at home, focus on his efforts on London? You'll hear the thoughts of my panel, Ammon Bogle, and also Jonathan Liss. This is GB News.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head our way into Sunday, we can expect further rain overnight tonight, then a day of sunshine and showers, though we are expecting some quite heavy downpours at times. This afternoon, we've also seen a fair amount of rain, particularly across central areas, parts of the south and southeast. This will eventually clear its way through over the course of this evening, but still some heavy outbreaks of rain expected at times. A little drier to the west, though once again plenty of showers starting to feed in, and these will turn heavier as we progress through the early hours of Sunday. The driest and clearest of conditions are likely across the far north and northeast of Scotland, so likely dipping below freezing here, a widespread frost and some possible icy stretches, but nevertheless for all it is going to be quite a chilly start to Sunday. And this leads us into quite an unsettled day. Plenty of clear skies across northern areas of Scotland and remaining mostly dry here. But as we head our way towards the southwest of Scotland, some quite heavy downpours. This is similar across Northern Ireland, many areas of northern England too, and some quite blustery conditions under cloudier skies here. Perhaps a little clear across Wales and the southwest, but still some showers and also some heavy persistent downpours just moving into many areas of eastern England too. And quite a blustery day on offer, particularly across parts of the southwest. Any areas surrounding the Bristol Channel could see some quite strong winds through the day, but there will be some brighter spells, if not some sunshine later into the day, but there will be some showers mixed in there too. These too still could be rather heavy at times, and still on the chillier side, though not quite as cold across many areas of England and Wales. Highs reaching 9 to 10 here, but around the mid-single figures elsewhere towards the north. And still, as we progress into the evening, plenty of cloud, some showery outbreaks, but as we head into next week, there will be more sunshine, but turning chilly again with some overnight frosts and feeling quite cold during the day too. But nevertheless, there will be some more brighter spells.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power. Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good afternoon, 38 minutes after 5 o'clock. Welcome on board. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua, and it is time for the Great British Debate this hour. And I'm asking, is it time for Sir Sadiq Khan to stay at home, i.e. in London, where he can fix some stuff there, instead of going abroad? The Conservatives have accused the London Mayor of wasting taxpayers' money on an £83,000 jaunt to South Africa.
But possibly one of the budget savings you could have made was the cost of your Africa trip, which cost the taxpayer £83,000. You took an entourage of 11 staff to South Africa alone. Can you explain? By the way, this was on business class, so good for you. I hope they took care of you on the flight. Can you explain why such a large team was essential, or does streamlining only ever apply to everyone else's footprint but yours?
It's the role of the Mayor of London to champion the capital as an exceptional place to live, work, study and invest in. The purpose of the visit was to promote London.
No eye contact at all, really. The purpose of the programme was to visit. No, really? It's a lot of money, though. You didn't need to go business class. Sir Sadiq travelled with an 11-strong entourage, insisting that the visit was to be part of his job to champion the great capital. Perhaps he could stay in the capital and make it great again. So for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is it time for Sir Sadiq Khan to perhaps stay at home, fix the problems in the capital? Joining me now, political commentator Aman Bogle. There's a political commentator, Jonathan Liss. Aman Bogle, we will start with you.
Look, I stood against Sadiq Khan when I stood for the London Assembly with Zach Goldsmith in 2016, and I stood for three very simple reasons. To get rid of this, as President Trump described, the most terrible mayor that London has ever had, and that's some competition with, you remember Red Ken back in the day. But look, this is not the first time that Sadiq Khan has done this. He went on a jolly to Pakistan in his first term as mayor, funded by the London taxpayer, the result of which we still are yet to see. But what we have seen, of course, is that knife crime is up 27%, robbery 57%, theft 37%, sexual offences 64%, and yet his priorities are to go off on a jolly to Africa, to raise ULEZ as a tax in London, and of course the congestion charge. But who can forget his biggest delivery for Londoners was mind the grab, right? Asking Londoners to fend for themselves as our phones get snatched 80,000 a year. That's the mayor. He's missing in action. This is the mayor of PR and paperclips.
Jonathan Liss.
Well, look, on the one hand, well, first of all, to answer your point on crime, homicides are at an all-time low in London. Violent crime is down. Of course, London has crime.
Do you feel
London
safe
is a major...
walking in London?
No,
Let him finish. Go on.
I've lived in London my entire life. I feel safe here. London, crime happens. Crime happens, absolutely. I'm vigilant. I was in... I've been to other countries where people do things that I don't do as a Londoner. They're not as vigilant. London is clearly a big city, and like all big cities, there are problems. I'm not denying that for a moment. But it's not Sadiq Khan's fault that there is crime in London. And
he's the Police and Crime Commissioner.
His hands are also, it's not only his responsibility for the Metropolitan Police, that's also the responsibility of the police force itself and also the Home Office.
Yeah,
so that's not only...
But Jonathan, he is the Police and Crime Commissioner. So to say that it's not really his responsibility, there is a level of responsibility.
Of course he has some responsibility for it,
when you say violent crime has gone down, I think a lot of the time people aren't bothering to report the crimes. There are many crimes that people don't even bother reporting now because they know that there'll be no police and very little will happen.
I think that Only people don't report some crimes, but I think violent crime on the whole is reported.
No.
Sometimes, but look, now all we can go on is not anecdotal evidence, it's statistics, and the statistics demonstrate that London's crime is actually falling.
No, violent crime, not crime, because shoplifting...
Violent crime is falling. Violent crime. I'm not saying that people aren't affected by crime. I'm not saying there isn't antisocial behaviour.
There are two, I mean, first of all, Kirsty Gallagher, who used to work here, she was robbed, she was punched, so she was targeted. Then that Genevieve, who works for, who was on Bridgeton, she'd actually been attacked twice. That was the second time, and she just got over the first attack and was building up.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Now, what I'm saying is, it is happening and it is getting worse. And it doesn't matter what anyone says or the statistics show this. You can get statistics to show pretty much anything. And so I'm afraid I'm not buying into the fact that violent crime.
It's basically that. And what Jonathan is saying is what the mayor himself said when he ran for the mayoralty first time. He said, look, you know, crime happens. It's all part and parcel of living in a big city. And mind you, he was talking about terror attacks there when he said that. So this sort of shuffling off of responsibility, while he meddled in Brexit, which was not his responsibility, he champions division with multiculturalism in London, asking Londoners to, you know what, diversity is our greatest strength. There's no point in being British. That's the message he's giving, and that's not good enough.
What an absurd comment to know that he's meddling in Brexit. First of all, he has a right to make comments about Brexit. Of course, he has a right to make comments about Brexit. He's the mayor of London. London is overwhelmingly pro-Remain city, and London was very, very gravely affected by Brexit. Of course, as the mayor, he represents the people of London, and the people of London overwhelmingly rejected Brexit.
If both talk, nobody will hear anything.
Okay, the point is, he certainly didn't have the right to... If he... Look, I wish that Sadiq Khan had the right to meddle in Brexit, because then we might have ended up with a better Brexit deal. But he wasn't, sadly, in national government at the time. And so we end up with a Tory Brexit, which is a dog's dinner. But the point is that he has a right to comment on national and international issues as they relate to London and as they reflect the views of Londoners. That's not what we're talking about right now, though. As the mayor of a global city, and that comes back to the question, he has a right to go to other cities and to represent London on the world stage. London is a global city.
But, okay, that's all very well.
Should he go by business class? That's a different issue. I think that's a valid question.
£83,000.
It's a valid question.
For him to go with
travelling business class.
An entourage of 11 people travelling business class. I mean, it's an absolute something take. It's just not. I think it's just absurd, especially with the state of the capital at the moment. And as for violent crime, I suspect it's, if a mobile phone is stolen, that may not be considered a violent crime. However, it depends how it's stolen, whether you're punched in the stomach and all that kind of thing. But anyway, coming up next, it's the quickfire quiz. I test the panel on some of the other stories. But first, if you're on searches from Holiday Sun, here's the forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
It's an unsettled day on Sunday in the UK, but it's also unsettled across parts of Greece with blustery showers. Meanwhile, for the Canaries, not too bad. Madeira seeing sunny spells and plenty of settled weather for Spain and parts of Portugal, although northern parts of Portugal into the south of France there will be some rain, and it's showery across Italy, but more so for parts of Greece and Croatia, where there'll be some heavy downpours and strong winds. Very unsettled Central Med next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
Taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there
with expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day, all day Wednesday.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Right now it's time for the quickfire quiz, the part of the show where I test my panel on the other stories hitting the headlines. Joining me, political commentator Aman Bogle. Your buzzer, please, Aman. And also political commentator Jonathan List. Your buzzer, please. Right, question one, please play along at home. Which word did Cambridge Dictionary announce as its word of the year this week? Was it A, parasocial, B, I haven't finished, I started, so I'll finish, please. B, 6, 7, or C, 5, vibe coding? Alan Bogle.
It was me.
Very good. Absolutely right. You broke the rules too many times and you pressed the buzzer before I'd finished speaking, so you were actually disqualified from the first time. Question number two. Open question. What £195 foodstuff has M&S had to defend this week after critics caused a stir online?
He broke the rules.
You haven't even pressed your buzzer. Alan Bogle.
It's a Christmas dinner that is designed by a chef that is very high-priced, £195.
All right, and your answer?
Beef Wellington.
You didn't press your button. I can't take your answer.
Beef Wellington.
It's too late. Beef Wellington is the answer. You get a point. But Aman didn't say that either. You did say £195, so you don't get... nobody gets anything. Closest answer wins question 3. This is fun. On Wednesday, people across the world broke new records to celebrate Guinness World Records Day, but how many cans did a Japanese record holder suction to his body? Quickly. Yes.
500.
Aman Bogle.
800.
800, closest answer wins. 25. 25. I'll give it to you, Jonathan. It's 1-1. Have a look at this. Quick, here it is. There he is. Shishiri Kano from Japan smashed the previous record of the most drink cans placed on his body using air suction. I fancy doing that. Oh, I'm just going to do a bit of this, a bit of that. Piss somebody with too much time on their hands. True or false, an Australian prisoner has sued for his human rights to eat Vegemite? Yes?
True.
True.
False.
OK, the answer is true. 2-1. OK, final decider. Question 5. A new statue of a much-loved screen character was unveiled in London's Leicester Square this week, but which fictional character was it? Go on. Nessa from the government station.
He didn't finish. Wait, he didn't finish.
Jones.
I knew the answer. No, he interrupted you. I was going to say Bridget Jones. I was going to say he cheated.
Too
and he
late.
colluded. Collusion.
This is typical socialism.
Guys, come on. I'm sorry for following the rules.
OK, I'll call it a draw.
Oh, there you go.
Actress Renée Zellweger unveiled the new statue this week, marking 25 years of Bridget Jones' cultural legacy. Oh, that's so cute, isn't it? Doesn't look anything like her. Throughout the show, I've been asking, is Sir Keir Starmer great on the world stage? What do you think? And according to the GB News poll, 1% of you say yes.
And that was Keir Starmer himself.
Well, it's better than their ratings for their behaviour on the economy. That was 0. I got to say a huge thanks to my brilliant panel commentator Aman Bogle, And thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on the show now.
And also political commentator Jonathan List. Thank you very much, Jonathan. And also a massive thank you to you at home for your company. I will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock, same time, same place. Do not go anywhere, though, because up next it is time for the Saturday 5.
Thank you very much, Nana. Yeah, we're going to try and break our own Guinness World Record today. Kai Wilshaw's going to stick 26 cans on his body. Let's see if we can win it. Anyway, we've got a big show coming up for you. We'll be talking about the Tories. Are they dead? Is it over for the party? I'll be talking about this sick experiment that's being played on children now. Even though we thought this puberty blocker stuff was over, it's clearly not. Renee is going to be talking about the COVID inquiry. Trust me, you're going to want to hear what she has to say. Trey will be talking about the mass exodus of people leaving Britain. Is it all over? Find out after the break.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head our way into Sunday, we can expect further rain overnight tonight, then a day of sunshine and showers, though we are expecting some quite heavy downpours at times. This afternoon, we've also seen a fair amount of rain, particularly across central areas, parts of the south and southeast. The whistle will eventually clear its way through over the course of this evening, but still some heavy outbreaks of rain expected at times. A little drier to the west, though, once again, plenty of showers starting to feed in, and these will turn heavier as we progress through the early hours of Sunday. The driest and clearest of conditions are likely across the far north and northeast of Scotland, so likely dipping below freezing here, a widespread frost and some possible icy stretches, but nevertheless for all, it is going to be quite a chilly start to Sunday. And this leads us into quite an unsettled